Yo. It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, gotta fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, salutations, whatever it is in your neck of the world. This is Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsey. Of course, I am here with another beanie-wearing black man with dreads. Righteous Reg, what's going on?
It's the gang. It's your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster, Righteous Reg. Beanie Boys are in the building. Philip Lindsey, it's Saturday morning. It's raining outside. I hope to not cough through this whole thing, but I'm feeling good other than that. It's been a very interesting week. A lot of developments, a lot of news, a lot of everything. Feels good to be here. How's your week going so far, my brother?
We got the first kind of big snowstorm of the year.
Oh, it hit.
And we did get some snow. We got some more snow last night, which hasn't been that bad. It's not really that cold. It's supposed to get like sub-zero this week.
Hell no.
Next week, sorry.
Not a Mortal Kombat character. It's crazy out here.
Yeah, it's supposed to get like to like up to like 30 below or something crazy.
I don't know nothing about that.
But you know, it is what it is. Chicago weather. I'm used to the cold at this point. I've lived here my entire life. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got playoffs coming up for football, if that's what you're into. Yeah, we also got, for some reason, I got slid into some nonsense with Sean that I was just kind of looking like, what does this got to do with me? I'm not a Scoops guy. Why are you,
I saw my face on the timeline. I'm like, why is my face on the timeline right now? What is this?
Yeah, I seen the tweet and I seen the account it was from, and I was just like, no, not today, Satan.
Please, not today.
Listen.
Why are we in this? Why am I in this? Nene Leaks.
Nah. It was funny because, you know, of course, people take things out of context. And, you know, if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong.
Easy. You said it many times on this pod.
The thing that was in the clip that I was wrong about, I came on the very next episode and said I was wrong.
Yeah. Didn't get that part, though. That wasn't in the clip.
Context don't matter.
Yeah.
But that's why we don't pay attention to those accounts.
No. It's nasty.
Y'all stay over there, man.
Nasty work going on outside, man. Like, just like I said earlier, the people who say that others need to go outside also need to go outside. It's crazy outside. Like, just put it down. Put it all down.
Hey, man, look, man. Hey, man, if you want us to shoot you a few bucks so you can do some edits and put some clips for us and promote our podcast, I'll throw you some ends if you want.
Yeah, that's what this is about. You want to promote your boys, like, we'll collaborate on this.
Hey, man, just send me a DM, man. I'll we can negotiate this. But other than that, you stay the fuck over there. I ain't got no.
And leave me the fuck out of this. I don't care about this.
Leave me out of your goofy Twitter beefs, man. I don't want nothing to do with that. Trash
all around.
The other thing that I kept seeing, people sending me, people kept sending me the Jerry Krause thing, and I'm just like, I saw it, guys. Of course, I saw it. And it was not a great moment. For context, if people did not watch, yesterday Chicago Bulls had the Ring of Honor ceremony.
ROH.
Irony. The Ring of Honor ceremony, and they had a bunch of people there that had to do with like the greatest basketball team of all time. And they celebrated guys like Kukoc, of course the GOAT, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, two guys were not in the building. Phil Jackson was there, got a standing ovation. It was cool to see Phil in the building. Haven't seen him in the United Center in a long time. And like I said, got a very well-deserved standing ovation. The big black eye on this entire ceremony, though, was Jerry Krause got his video package, and the crowd unceremoniously booed this man.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cut back to his wife, Thelma Kraus, sitting there in tears and just like completely shocked that this was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it just was very very distasteful, man. It was a bad look, man. And don't get me wrong, I couldn't stand Jerry Krause by then. I was ready for him to go. I will never forget his last day here. And he was sitting in the stands, and for some reason they were playing the music for Jurassic Park as they were, as they were talking about this guy retiring. I'm like, why are they playing this like music that makes me think of dinosaurs? But all right. Um, so yeah, I look, man. I'm not the biggest Krause fan, but he's dead, guys. He's no longer with us. His family that was in attendance to celebrate his achievements with this team, they didn't deserve that.
How
They didn't
crazy
deserve
is
at
that?
all.
His wife is there. His widow
Yeah.
wife that's sad just saw a video of her husband, and you guys
Yeah,
are
you got-
booing.
You got all these emotions going through your head probably because your husband is not here, and then he's getting booed. It was a bad look, man. It was a real bad look.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, damn, it's forever for some people, and that needs to not be the thing. Not in this case. Like, there's a time and a place, and this was not a time and the place. Yeah, I
No.
saw that Jordan and Pippen weren't there, and I was like, yeah, because it's probably on site for Jordan and for Pippen if it was me. Like, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Jordan had his video that played that he talked about how much he appreciated the fans, how much he loved Chicago, but that was it. Yeah, that was awful. It was awful to see that. And for something that was supposed to celebrate the team, I just
Right.
thought that was very unnecessary. Again, not the biggest Kraus guy, but Kraus was instrumental in putting this team together. He also was instrumental in breaking it up and about a decade of irrelevance that came afterwards. But
Yeah.
again, he's no longer here. That stuff doesn't matter anymore.
Mm-mm. It all happened. It's nothing's gonna change. And boo, what does booing do at this point? He's dead.
Nothing. He's no longer here, man. And I felt like very karmically, the Bulls had to lead at halftime when this happened, and then they went on to lose. You guys in the building kind of deserved that loss.
Hard, tough pill to swallow right there, man. Unfortunate. It's just like, again, time and a place, man. It feels like, especially as wrestling observers and people like that, like, we know that I've seen situations of time and a place. I just recently, somebody posted a clip of they were doing a 10 count for Eddie Guerrero at a CZW show, and some guy's just like, nah, I don't want to hear that. He's like yelling during the 10 bell count, and Eddie Kingston like runs out and talks shit to him. But it's like, I've seen situations of like time and a place, dude. Like, what is going on here? Like, what does that do for you? Like, you're a freak. I guess that maybe saturates your brain, but you guys got to chill.
Yeah, it's basketball. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I have very
He took y'all to the glory, though, right?
yeah. I mean, he was the first guy that he made this team relevant. Now again, he is a big part of why the team broke up, and a big part of why we could not have a good team again after that. But
Sounds like Eric Bischoff.
we still had 6 championships out of this. We still had a bunch of good years out of this. I don't think he deserves to get booed in death. Now, maybe if he was still here, I would have laughed very hard if he got booed. But he's just not here. It just doesn't matter, man.
So it would have been funny in a different circumstance.
I still don't think it would have been. I still don't think it would have been the most tasteful thing to do if he was here. But I probably would have laughed if he was here. But he's not here. It don't matter.
Spade a spade.
Man. He's it's gone. It's over with, man. Like the guy's gone.
Yeah, but that's still cool that they did that ceremony. Calling it the Ring of Honor, I thought was super funny too. Like everything is kind of funny surrounding. That's awful, but like Jordan and Pippen not being there, being called Ring of Honor, people being wild. It's like, it's kind of Chicago though, ain't it?
Yeah. Hey, man. Chicagoans are very loyal. And,
Exactly.
When they don't like you, they will never let you forget it. And so that's what it is. I also, of course, rest in peace to Jerry Krause. Hopefully his family and friends are doing well today. That did seem like a pretty awkward thing to sit through, and I've had to sit through this morning tons of people from the sports community tweeting or saying things like, do better, Chicago, fans. I'm like, what did I do? I was at home. I ain't did nothing.
Just cast it over all of y'all now at this point.
You just gotta say it was all of us. I was at home. I ain't did nothing. I ain't boo this man.
It's crazy. Yeah, that usually happens though, and it's kind of understandable. But that's like, you got to think of how, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's sometimes if it's the beef till the end of time, like, I understand, and you can't control what the fans are gonna do. Also, like, some fans are just gonna they don't care that you're doing a ceremony. They don't care about none of that. They came to watch the game today, and they don't like that fool.
Nah, and it's understandable why some people still don't like him. No, I would just say that. It's very understandable. But it don't matter no more, man. It don't.
Chicago, y'all are some good people. I'm enjoying it. I'm into it. What else was going on this week besides, before we get into wrestling? There's been a lot of beef on the timeline in sports media. Somebody was asking us to talk about Stephen A. Smith, and I was like, sounds good to me. I saw a video of Shaq yesterday. He was talking about a center was gonna press charges on Draymond. I forget what the center was. And then he goes, I'm about to have a Cat Williams moment. I was like, oh, this is what we're getting into now?
All right. The Cat Williams interview is the new pipe bomb, buddy.
Come on, Phil. I don't want this. I don't want this already. I already don't want this. But the Stephen A. Smith one, I think, was needed and on time, especially with how Jason Whitlock has been moving through these streets. Like,
nasty dude.
He's needed to been checked on a high level, and I respect this.
I'm of two minds about it. I thought it was entertaining. I think it was funny. Yes. Not the biggest Stephen A. fan, but Whitlock is hot trash. Like, yeah, I can totally understand that. But I also feel like at this point, Whitlock is low hanging fruit. Like,
he is. Also,
he sucks. Like, I mean, I think most people at this point know he sucks. But I did feel like after the Cat interview and after you saw what Shannon did numbers wise, he was like, "Oh, I got some beef. I can hear some beef." So he went out and got him some numbers. Hey, man, more power to him. But it was entertaining. I seen it, and I seen he was in there doing this little super villain voice. I was like, "Oh, he's in heaven, man. He's loving this. He's been waiting to get this off."
This is so funny, but like I said, I don't want this to become a Cat Williams shoot interview thing for everybody. There's some people that I want to hear them get stuff off, but I don't want it to just become everybody's trying to go viral. I know that sounds crazy because that's exactly what's going to happen, but I just don't want it.
Yeah, I know y'all just waiting for your boy to come in here and do the Stephen A. villain voice. Know who you are. Not gonna say you by name. Box-headed bastard. Won't be me, buddy.
No, not this
lifetime. I said that, man. I'm not on that time.
I mean, people be trying to push us to the edge. All my friends are dead.
People definitely be trying to drag us into stuff. Like I said with that clip, and I'm just like, leave me alone, man. That's not getting me out of bed.
But why? We over here just kicking it. I just do not understand it. Leave me alone. It's silly. The homie out also was like, talk about the Keith Lee situation, and it's very close to home. I think it's as close as home as the situation that you could get. Keith Lee, of course, put out a thing a couple of weeks ago saying he was going to be in the Bay Area, and I knew what time it is when he was going to come. See, I live here, Phil, so like the situations, it's where we are as a nation in general, it feels like this shit's dire. So like the things that he was complaining about are legit normal to me at this point. Like the old building that I lived in, there was a homeless person that lived in front of it, and he was like the homie. It's homeless people are like the neighbors over here at this point and part of the community. And it's Oakland, it's wild. People are going up, they're breaking in the car. So he was afraid to come in general before he had even got here. People had convinced him that he was going to get robbed as soon as he came in here. And he has like his family, his kids and stuff. So he had already had this in his brain of like, it's going to be crazy out here. And then you get here and there's homeless people, there's people doing drugs, there's shit on the street. There's like, it's bad outside. And I understand where he was coming from. People have misconstrued his words. Surprise, surprise. He didn't say, this is a terrible place. I'm not reviewing it because it's the worst place ever. He was saying it's crazy out here. People are doing whatever they can to survive. It's not the time for me to come and do a food blog and try to blah 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 when the situation is way bigger than me trying to come on and put on for some mom and pop stores, which I understand, because it's like, one, I knew him coming here. The spots that are, there's not a lot of spots that are like that. The mom and pop spots are popping because people, that's just how they move out here. Like, they're going to go to a mom and pop space before they go to some mainstream shit, just because that's Bay Area culture. And I knew that the spots he really was going to come and get that off, they're already popping. And that's exactly what he said. He said, I went to a bunch of places that already had lines and all this, like the places that people were sending them to, they're already going off. So it was like, there was all these things against us coming. And then he comes and sees the turmoil and he's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah. I can picture him just like riding into town and just rent a car. And he's like, man, about to get some food, about to get some eats. And then he opens his car door and gets out and he's walking around. And all of a sudden, like, Stevie Wonder, Living for the City comes on. And he's seeing like all this stuff going on. He's like, oh, no, man, I don't think I could do this, man. I think we got to get out of here.
A little bit crazier out here. Still, though, it's wild, though, because he's done reviews of like, he's been in Chicago. And what do people say about Chicago? Chicago's this, Chicago's that. They didn't run him out of the damn city. He was in Atlanta.
He's been in these, a bad rep, man.
Exactly. He's been in New Orleans. He's been in all these places that people consider to be wild, but they did not run him out of the city. He left, Phil. He was like, I'm gone. I can't do this. He was in San Francisco and Oakland, like the main places. So it's like, man, if he was in Chicago and he had a good time and ate some good chicken and didn't get ran out of the city, and he came over here and they almost killed him, put him in the hospital with this allergy, it's like, yo, it's crazy outside.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he said anything that was terrible. I think he's still just trying to be a positive guy. I think he hasn't said anything that's out of pocket about anybody. He always seems to be even keeled about most of this stuff. So I don't really understand why people are getting so upset about him. But that's the internet. People will get upset about anything.
People create their narratives no matter what, and if
absolutely
people change them or aren't even going by that, they don't care.
Absolutely.
Like, what's Keith Lee doing to get hate at all? And people are finding, oh, this guy, blah, blah. I'm like, what is wrong with people? Like, how could you, someone's just, his point is just do good. And people are like, well, what about this? Or what about this? Or what about you going to therapy, you damn freak? Why are you putting this on all these people? People are sick, man.
Yeah, it's too much, man. It's too much. We had a lot of journalist internet beef, and I was just like, guys, it's okay, man.
What are they fighting for?
Nothing. Nothing.
Right? Numbers?
We had the I'm going to WrestleMania discourse, and I was just like, guys, it's not this serious, man. Who cares?
You're not gonna make a graphic with you. Let me stop.
No, man. I should just go ahead and make like the party flyers with like and put it out tomorrow with like Martin Luther King on it. Royal Rumble. I'm announcing today, guys. I am going to Royal Rumble. The Chicago Phils are going back to Royal Rumble.
You side by side with MLK on a flyer.
Yo, every year on MLK Day, when they put out those party flyers and they'll have like MLK on them, just like, guys, stop doing it, man. Stop
MLK next to a big booty girl. I'm like, yo, what are and it's a Patron. I'm like, yo, what are we doing here? No, I just got an email. It was it had like MLK next to like a weed advertisement. I was like, maybe we should. Like, I know what the weekend is. I know what's going on here. Like, I know what on Monday people are off, but like, there has to be a line here.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
What did that become popular culture of being like, it's MLK Day, come and get shots, and then they have like AI MLK with like a haircut and earrings.
Yeah, nah, it's bad. Stop doing that, please. Graphic designers, man, like, please stop doing that.
MLK did not die for this, big bro. He didn't. He did not. I don't believe it. It's crazy. Yeah, it's been it's pretty interesting. Shout out to MLK. It is MLK weekend. I'm gonna have to go outside in Oakland because I know some kind of march or something cool is gonna be going on.
Celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
King celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
We can look forward to the usual WWE MLK montage, and then they'll like show some black wrestlers and then cut to some black people in the audience, and that'll be the only thing we see from them and MLK this week.
At least put a black wrestler over, man. Damn, come on.
Yeah.
Speaking of black wrestlers, what a scary, scary, scary moment last night with Carmelo Hayes and Grayson Waller. And Austin Theory.
Yeah, I hope he's okay.
That misfortune timed low main pain as Air Fox hits, and it was a disaster wipeout. Hopefully both of those guys are good. That looks really scary. I'm with this new trend of something wild happens in the wrestling ring and they immediately stop it. Like, we don't need to be continuing matches with guys and girls and people in blurry states. Like, just stop this shit. It's fine. It's a wrestling TV show. We can move on.
We don't have to do that. Also, shout out to Black G's. Glad he's okay.
Oh my God.
That was a terrible news to see. Glad he's okay. That could have easily went much, much worse. So shout out to Black G's. Hopefully he's doing better.
You know, when you see these headlines on the internet and you like, man, I hope sometimes it's exaggerated. You see like NWA star shot and you're like, what? What, man? I hope this was some kind of wild clickbait. And then you go on there and you're like, oh, it's not clickbait. It's a wild story of, if you guys haven't heard, they said that G's I think there's an NWA show or something happened. He's about to return to NWA because he had a cancer scare recently. He had, there was a lot going on in this thing, but he's returning back to NWA, driving in the car. 4 dudes tried to carjack the homie and he had a strap on him. They had a strap on him. He ended up getting shot in like the hip or something, but him having the strap essentially saved his life, it sounds like. But yeah, G's quick recovery. That's scary. I just can't believe these crazy situations that happen, man.
Yeah, very scary. Glad he's still with us.
Man,
hope he's doing better.
It's wild outside. Let's get into a couple of super chats before we move forward because we only have a couple. Chi-Town Spurs says, I'm not going outside. It's like -5 today. Like, see, negatives? What is that even? I don't know what that means. Negative?
It's cold.
What do you do, Phil? Just stay inside? Like
Chi-Town Spurs says? Or you layer up, man. Put scarf and stuff on.
Homie Chi-Town Spurs also says they booed the wrong Jerry. Who's another Jerry?
Which Jerry am I missing? Oh, Reinsdorf. I'm sorry. Yeah, Reinsdorf sucks as well. Sorry, it took me a minute.
Then Twin Blade says, on to some more Chicago, homies. Ali versus Gringo humped. Glory Pro Anniversary 6 has Alex Shelley on as guest, and after that, the Road Warrior Cup has been announced. A back-to-back night, 2-night event. That sounds dope. Please tell me more about that, man. Twin Blade. Yeah, I watched the GCW show last night. Really fun show, you guys. I hadn't watched a GCW show in a minute just because life moves fast, time and all the things, but just definitely a mix of GCW, the classic stuff you would hope to see. There was a lot of cancellations on the show. There was supposed to be a Leo Rush and Jonathan Gresham match on the show, but Jonathan Gresham was one of 3 to 5 wrestlers that couldn't make their flights because the weather is insane, for everybody. So a bunch of wrestlers couldn't make it. They replaced Jonathan Gresham with Nick Wayne though, so there was a really dope Leo Rush versus Nick Wayne match. First time ever, I think. Nick Wayne has this, man, since he's been with Christian, seeing him on the indies now, he feels like a big star. Like, he comes out, he has different confidence, like he's playing a little heel role. Like, not even a year ago, he was on the indies and he looks way different, way more improved, way more veteran instincts. It's like, man, just being next to legends and people you can sponge off of can help tremendously. And I think it did right here for Nick Wayne. And Leo Rush looks great, man. He's so quick. Like, there's fast rushes, there's quick rush, there's all that. This guy's so quick. He moves so quickly. He the way that he gets in and out and evades and does spots is like second to none. Like we talked about in our interview, nobody moves like Leo Rush. Nobody does it like he does. And these two young guys together, I thought was tremendous. Great match. But yeah, I think the meat and potatoes of the show was the main event. The homeboy Mustafa Ali returned to the indies, taking on Gringo Loco. Gringo Loco, you know, if you've seen Ring of Honor or AEW recently, he's been on there. But in Chicago, Gringo Loco is one of those guys, one of the best on the scene for sure. And these two guys had a great match. Ali came out, new music. He has like an entourage. There's a guy with the flag. He has like the Secret Service type Ali for 2024 president. Looked great, looked tremendous, looked exactly like he should. Looks like he's going to take over 2024. And Gringo Loco is just the base god. He made Ali look amazing. Then afterwards, Ali told a story of he wasn't initially in the Cruiserweight Classic, and his trainer had told him that he was, like, there was some kind of miscommunication or something, and then he wasn't. And then he was like, what am I going to do? This trainer was like, well, train with Gringo Loco and then just go to the show anyways. And so essentially he trained with Gringo, went to the show anyways, and then he got on, and the rest is history. So he essentially credited his whole WWE run, his career, to Gringo Loco. So to go from that to this match, I think is really, really amazing.
Yeah. Really love how he has not been just showing up places in wrestling. He has also come afterwards and said some really, really inspirational stuff.
Yep.
The stuff he said after his match in Paris, I think that was. I think it was in France or Paris. And then the stuff here is just like, this guy, I'm telling you, could be a top guy of a company, man. I don't know how they missed on him with WWE, but I hope that he shows people in this run that, you guys are missing out on me. You guys have to invest in me.
Yeah, nah, the exactly same thing I said about Nick Wayne. Now, this guy, Ali, looked like a huge star. Feel like the presence, just his confidence. I'm like, oh, he's about to be like, he could be world champion tomorrow with the confidence that he has. If I was AEW, I'd send all the money in the world to the homie because I think he'd be a big star over there. Impact is announcing a big signing tonight. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's not him. Like, he's going to be one to reckon with in 2024. Super excited about it because he looks great. And I think like the message that he always just kind of carries around is very important these days. Orion 666 says hot chocolate, watch Grapsody, vote Ali.
Correct.
Stephen Marcusili says a few Rumble surprise entrants you guys like to see.
I mean, after X-Pac put that tweet out there, I kind of want to see X-Pac pop.
What's up, Pac? Yeah, I know. I know you were saying I'm not going to be there, but like now I want you to be there, big dog.
Yeah, I like to see X-Pac pop up. I'm trying to think, like, surprises in the Rumble. We got a lot of surprises that you would expect in the Women's Rumble. A lot of women have come back at this point. Jazz has still not been in the Rumble, which I don't understand. I am, again, here to tell you that Jazz should be a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
But Jazz,
it seems like every year they bring back 3 or 4 women in the Women's Rumble that are like huge surprises or people that haven't been around for a while.
Yeah. I'm assuming the big one this year is going to be Trinity. I think that's where Trinity's return is going to be. Obviously, I think we're probably going to see Jade Cargill. It's not really a surprise.
No. I was thinking maybe we potentially would see Mickie James, but I just saw that new deal that she got with Ohio Valley Wrestling. Shout out to Mickie James. Shout out to them for, getting such a great veteran wrestler over there.
One of those that I don't think we'll ever see, but I would love to see it one day, is Gail Kim. Not going to happen, but I would love to see Gail Kim.
She put out a little quote to be like, I don't think so either.
But I would love to see it.
Yeah, I can't even think of like a surprise one over on the women's side because they've had so many surprises at this point. I think honestly on both sides, it feels like they don't focus on big surprises in the Royal Rumble anymore. They kind of, which is a good thing, I think. They kind of gotten just down to who do we realistically think is going to win this? Like the surprise, nobody ever realistically thinks a lot of the surprises are going to win the Rumble. And so them just sticking to the core of who people have been killing it the whole year that realistically are going to win this thing, I think it's pretty good.
I mean, not that Punk is back. I feel like this is the year to pull off the AJ surprise. I don't know if I believe we're going to get that, but it would be really cool to see her.
That's probably the one, I think, in terms of like right here on the surface that we can get to. Bailey wants it really bad. She put out a quote earlier saying that she would let her throw her out if she was in there pretty much. Yeah, I think AJ, recently training for the Hill show, a part of WOW. I think that's a pretty big one. All the young women wrestlers coming up in WWE and in NXT are just like AJ Lee brought me here. I love AJ Lee, so I think that one would be huge for a lot of people.
Yeah. On the men's side, here's somebody. It's in Philly. Sorry, not in Philly. It's in Florida. Man, it's in Florida. It's in his hometown. I would love it if Big E showed up, but I don't think he's going to. Big E would be a big win. Man,
You think he's gonna come back ever?
it seems like he's pretty content.
Right. That's how I
and
feel.
That makes me think that he knows that he's probably done. I hope that he gets a chance to wrestle again, even if it's just like one last match or something. Yeah, but yeah, in Florida, I think that if he was cleared and ready, that would be the place to use him.
Yeah.
In his hometown. Maybe Andrade. I don't know when Andrade is cleared to go. I don't know because he's just out of his contract.
Right, his contract is just over,
so he can go anywhere he wants. So Andrade, maybe they'll wait till the Rumble for him.
Like this year, I kind of feel like you don't need it. You got Punk, you got Cody, you know what I mean, Gunther. Like there's a lot of like thing you got it here presented for you already. Like I can't even think of someone that's gonna, you know.
I think the Andrade one makes a lot of sense. I would really like the idea if like you've got like Legato's faction with like Humberto and Garza, and they're like throwing people out, and they throw most of the LWO guys out, and he thinks he's won. He's like, yeah, and then Selena comes to the top of the ramp. It's like, I got one more person. Then it hits don't. See, almost.
I like it. Yeah, I couldn't find any reason why he wouldn't be in the Royal Rumble match at this point. It'd be more surprising if he wasn't, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I think he's probably a shoe-in at this point. At this point, I'd be really, really surprised if he's not in it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty fun. Van Twin Blade also says DMG the graphic on Insta, Reg. I'll definitely check that out because that sounds fun. But you're gonna be in Tampa, right? For the Royal Rumble wing. How long are you going to be out there? Because I know they're having that. What is it? The Battle Rumble? What is it called?
Battle Rumble. I think that's Friday.
Are you going to be there for that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think because I get there Thursday night. So. Yeah. I think it's Friday, and then the Rumble itself is on Saturday.
Nice. We're gonna have to figure something out for the pod. Or are you going to pod from there?
I'll probably just pod from there.
Okay. For sure. That's all of our super chats for now. Appreciate everybody for submitting super chats. Y'all are cool. Y'all are great. Y'all are amazing. What a good time to exist. The Royal Rumble. Phil's going to put up his I'm going to Royal Rumble graphic after the pod comes out.
Yeah. Don't wish this on Orion. Def Rebel, do not ruin Andrade's theme. Just let him use his NXT theme.
They're not going to.
Do not create another theme for this guy. Please don't do it.
They're going to.
I know they are. Just come on, man. Don't.
Who has kept theirs from that time? Kevin Owens?
Kevin, Sammy.
Sammy got his back.
That's kind of it.
Shinsuke?
Most of the other ones are gone. Yeah, Shinsuke.
But I heard the new DIY theme, Johnny. I'm like, oh, this is
not good, buddy.
I would think at this point they would have more than one group that they go to for the music. Like I understand how wrestling works, but like in all the companies, there'd be like a little, at least 5 staff of people that could be cranking out tunes. But I understand with money and stuff how it's easier to just have one group or person producing the stuff.
Yeah. Matt, the Rumble is at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. They keep saying Tampa, but it's not technically in Tampa. It's in St. Petersburg. Let's see. get into some Humper chats. Got Humper chats from Tony P. Said, I thought TK was going to win Petty of the Week, but for some reason, I want to give it to those weird, sad-ass geeks who are pissed about Sting picking the Bucks for his last match. I can't decide, so we're going to do something special. You two pick the winner. I mean, I think it has to be the Chicago fans, but when Krause, man. Like,
Yeah,
that's about the
definitely.
pettiest thing this
That's
week I
petty
see.
of the week by far. Can't beat that.
Yeah, I
A
don't think
dude's
anybody's
widow?
beating that.
Yeah, no, okay, you got it.
Let's see, Thursday night, he says, was a bloodbath. New York made it interesting to the end, though. You know, a team getting their ass kicked when they leave the game to a less to a less worse blowout. Also, I fully believe now Portland fans wish the team would have taken the MIA trade. Now, yeah,
Yes.
Portland's had a rough year. They've had some
Definitely.
injuries. Yeah, been a tough year. Tough year for Memphis Grizzlies fans as well. They keep getting injuries as well.
Damn.
Is what it is. More from Tony P says, think he means we've been the most injured without Jimmy mostly and still in the thick of it. We also can go toe to toe with a lot of good teams better than last year. By the way, Phil, what is your team's fan problem? Usually ride or die, but last night, is there some expectation troop beat you have for wrestling that was created because of WWE that you know isn't a must have an effective and great wrestling match story, but it's so baked in that you have to overcome it at times when analyzing shows. What is a trope that WWE has beat into wrestling?
I have a million.
You know, I never thought about it until Collision started doing it, but I'm not the biggest fan of theme music playing when somebody comes out for a run-in. I don't think you need it. I understand why it became a thing with WWE because of Austin, and you got to do the breaking the glass for
Big
Austin.
glass.
But some people, I just think it kind of seems silly. It's like I'm running in, I'm running through Gorilla. Play my music. I'm running out. It just kind of doesn't make sense.
Yeah, if you really break it down, it's silly. It's like,
it's
play my song,
silly.
play my song.
Play my song. I'm running out. Things that are baked. Well, I mean, it's not just a WWE thing. This has been done to death in wrestling. But just like the patriotic pandering, it's just not.
Oh
man.
God, that's It's not even a WWE thing. That's just
it's a big wrestling
general.
thing. But I think because wrestling is what it is, and WWE is the biggest stage in town, we see it more there. And I don't need it, man. The whole foreign heel demo and then
The worst.
I mean, because I think they hammed it up the most when Cena was doing it, and he had to do these super long promos of him doing basically these colors don't run, and I'm just like, please stop it, man.
I just kind of hate how they've made they did a great job of it, but they made the crowds into just studio audiences. I knew it was coming into this at WrestleMania 32 in Dallas when they had on the board boo and cheer, and I was like, this isn't a good sign to what's to come. But they've like conditioned crowds to just like, okay, now it's time to say this is awesome. Okay, now it's time to say you still got it. Okay, now it's time. It's like it feels robotic. It doesn't feel natural.
It doesn't feel natural.
It doesn't feel like there are moments where you can say this, but this is just like, all right, there's been a near fall. It's time to do it. There's been a blah, blah, blah. Time to do it. It's not like, it's like they're part of the show too, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, here's our line. We got to hit our line. And it's like, dude, you can hit your line, but like, let it be warranted. It just like any match with a near fall, this is awesome. And it's like, that's not how that works.
Yeah. See, more from Tony P says, also, is there a wrestling program that you thought was really bad most of the way through, but after its completion, analyzing it, then suddenly realized it was done the right way overall, not as bad as you thought it was? I will say, for the most part, the thing I turned around the quickest on in recent memory is the Becky Bianca feud, because
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely hated it at SummerSlam. Hated how Becky came back. Hated how Becky beat her in seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it ended up working out in the long run. I think you got a really good long term feud out of it. I still don't like the execution at SummerSlam. There's
Mm-hmm.
still other things about it I don't like, but I think in the long run, I think it helped both of them. I think it was a pretty good heel run for Becky, and I think it led to probably one of the biggest wins of Bianca's career.
Yeah. Recently, the thing that sticks in my mind is Samoa Joe dropping the Ring of Honor Television Championship. I hated it. I thought it was the worst idea ever. But now, like where we landed, it's like, okay, that was a kind of an inaugural part of the story.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. Uh, oh, there's just more from the question. He says you still don't have to like it personally, but more positive of it and talk highly about it. Curious about this, and we'll be asking others at Fightful and outlets associated with y'all.
Mm,
Other than that, have a good wrestling night and weekend.
appreciate
Appreciate
it.
you, Tony B. From Nelson Muntz, can you please ask people in AEW why every why every time FDR gets to wrestle on TV, it's at least 20 minutes. To catch the Darby needed only 12 minutes to put on a banger. FDR getting 20 minutes is a giant waste of time in rebuilding the tag division and for AEW as a whole.
I don't think so. I have to disagree.
That match was fire, though. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed that match. I've really enjoyed FDR on Saturdays. I think that
Hmm.
they've had great matches on Saturdays. I think they've, in some ways, low key carried Collision from start to finish. I think from day one of Collision, they've been the most consistent guys on the entire show.
Yeah, I disagree because I think that exactly what you're saying is exactly what needs to be done here, Nelson. It's like FTR kind of getting the time to shine over there on Collision. I think is important for the tag team division because there should be more stuff like this happening in the tag team division. So if you have one of the best tag teams in the world, you should let them cook every Saturday
Yeah.
because you have them at this time. I think more tag teams need to be in 20 plus minute matches. It doesn't just have to be FTR, but I think them leading the way in this is needed.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I can understand people thinking the matches are a bit long, but um, I haven't seen any of them that I just didn't like yet,
Mm-hmm.
or I felt like this was it. The length of it was so distracting for me that I was like, I'm not into this. But
No, they all hit.
no, all of them have hit for me so far.
Even the
I'm fine
almost
with it.
hour one, I wasn't bored any part of that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Yeah, I think their run on Collision has been really good. But again, I know that they're a divisive team, and some people are just not gonna like certain things they're doing. So I get it.
right.
But I thought the tag match from Collision last week was very good.
Same.
See, last one from D'Lo Diggs. Man, those people need to touch this snow with the wild mess online. Also, staying my black ass inside. -50 below windshield. But TNA is back, baby. Them belts look nice. Yeah, they do. Guess that's kind of a good way to jump into some TNA talk.
Yep.
TNA will be back officially tonight with TNA Hard to Kill. They have been debuting all of the new belts throughout the week, and all of them look very, very purty.
Yep.
I think I was questionable at first about this TNA rebrand. What does this actually mean? But there's a lot of excitement about it. So happy for the fans that wanted this. Happy for people that are nostalgic for TNA. I think it's cool.
Yeah. Initially, it was like, remember they played that video and they were in the forest, and we were like, "Oh, what's going on
happening
here?" Yeah. And then it gets to TNA, and it's like, okay, I don't know exactly why this is happening, but I think everything that they've done since then has convinced me that it's a good idea. Just kind of adding a different energy, something new but old to the brand, and giving everybody just something to be excited about. I think signing all these new people, debuting new belts. They're going to have a different look, I'm sure, going into this. I think this is very important to the progression of TNA wrestling, especially what's going on in the landscape of wrestling. They're supposed to announce another big signing tonight. I've been asking everyone, do you have a prediction on who you think it is?
I'm guessing it's Ali. That's my
Yeah.
guess. I'm trying to think of anybody else that would make sense. That's like a big WWE guy that was just released.
Ziggler's mine.
Yeah, maybe Ziggler.
Hmm.
Yeah, Ziggler makes sense too.
Right.
I'm gonna go with Ali. That's my
Hmm.
guess.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's either one of those two for me because just the way that they're promoting it, like it could be anybody, but the way that they're like, it's a big deal, it's blah blah blah. Like one of those two guys feels like Dolph Ziggler is a former world champion. Like that
right.
just, you know what I mean, holds some
Uh,
different weight.
yeah. Uh, pull up this card.
Hmm.
Uh, tagline for it is TNA wrestling is back. TNA is heading to Las Vegas. Hopefully, people had a safe trip because the weather was crazy. I
Yeah.
saw a few people that were saying they got delayed and they were going to
Hmm.
try and fly out this morning. So hopefully that doesn't affect the card. I know on the pre-show we've got Big Rich Swann taking on Steve Macklin. We got Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers taking on Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian. Keep
Mm.
forgetting that some of these guys are there. Um,
It's a
uh,
throwback for sure. It sounds like this
uh,
sounds like a 2002 TNA card so far.
Yeah, yeah. We got Tommy Dreamer taking on Crazy Steve, and a no disqualification match for the TNA Digital Media Championship.
Tommy Dreamer.
I I was enjoying my man Joe Hendry
Joe Hendry.
as Digital Media Champion, so I was
Hmm.
very confused why they took the belt off of him. And then you go with Tommy Dreamer of all people. Um, yeah,
What?
I didn't really understand that, but some of that sounds good. Rich Swann versus Steve Macklin is probably going to be a fun match.
Hmm.
I have no doubt the tag match will be fine as well. Not sure what to make out of this digital media championship match, but it'll be a thing. Um,
Yeah, I'm interested to see the Rich Swann and Steve Macklin match is interesting to me because Steve Macklin, recently we've been talking about Deonna debuting in AEW and they're married. It's like, is he gonna continue to stay in Impact? Because having an opening match on the pre-show sounds kind of wild. I don't know. It could just be timing, space, and things. But like this guy used to
yeah,
be the world champion. Like he used to be in a high position. Both of these guys to see them kind of in the opening pre-show match is interesting.
yeah, yeah. I'm not sure what to make of that. But I always figured the Macklin stuff was just kind of like transitional champion. I never felt like they
Yeah.
were gonna really give him the ball. Um, but it is what it is. The
Hmm.
main card. Why did I press this button? It's now off my phone. Main card. We are getting a 4-team tag match for the TNA World Tag Team Championship. The
Hot.
champions, ABC, Chris Bay, and Ace Austin, will be taking on the teams of the Rascals,
Mm,
Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel, and Speedball Mountain,
mm,
Mike Bailey and Trent Seven, and of course the grizzled young
mm.
veterans, Zach Gibson and James Drake. Very excited for this match. Very excited for anything with the grizzled young veterans after they left WWE. Really fun tag team, stacked match.
Yeah.
I think this is gonna be fire.
Yeah, this is one of those balls to the wall. Everybody's going to go 100 miles per hour. My favorite type of shit, some spot food. All these teams are awesome. Ace and Bay have been incredible. I kind of just want them to continue on as champions if we're keeping it 100 just because of how great they've been being. Rascals being back together are on fire. Speedball and Trent Seven is just like, oh, Speedball's there, so it's going to be a banger. I love everything about this match. I think this is a X Division style tag match
Yeah,
scramble that it's just going to be one of those.
yeah, yeah. I kind of think ABC is gonna retain. I
Hmm.
wouldn't be surprised though
Grizzly Young Vets.
if Grizzly Young Vets win as well.
Yep.
But either way, I think this is going to be a fun match.
Hmm.
Got Josh Alexander taking on Alex Hammerstone in a
Hmm.
singles match. At one point, Hammerstone was trying to convince us that he was leaving MLW. I did not believe him. But it is cool to see him showing up other places. And I think this match is going to be hard because it's Josh Alexander, and he rarely misses.
Yeah, I'm excited for Hammerstone. He kind of like for West Coast when I first started going to West Coast Pro, he was the champion. Like, so I
Hmm.
know like there's like a little bit of connection in that. And then he was a longtime champion over in MLW and I think established himself, but he totally hit the ceiling of where he was gonna go over there. It's time for him to get somewhere else and go for it. This match I think is super important for him because Josh Alexander is the standard of Impact Wrestling. And if you are going to get a shot out here at Impact Wrestling, having a great showing against this person is the way to go. But also having a not great showing against this person is going to mean a lot too. So I think the ball's in his court. You got a great dance partner and just got to execute.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got the Knockouts Ultimate X match.
Mm,
And that's going to be Giselle Shaw taking on Zaya Brookside, taking on Jody Threat, Tasha Steeles, Alicia Edwards, and Danny Luna.
fire.
Believe is this their second Ultimate X
I
match
think
for
this
the
is the second
Knockouts?
one. Yeah.
Yeah, Ultimate X is of course a stipulation match that is very much an Impact match, very
Hmm.
TNA match. So it makes sense for TNA to come back and restore the feeling in some ways. Have the Ultimate X match. I'm not sure who I think is going to win this. I think that this field is wide open.
Yeah.
Um,
I like they're always so great with the knockouts. That's
yeah,
like not a thing, but them always having new knockouts to get behind and stuff
yeah,
like that. I think it's great. Having this match and having it be the knockouts is I think really important since they're going back to TNA and they had never did a knockouts one in TNA. This match is going to be hard.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know who's winning though.
I'm rooting for Tasha Steeles. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if I would predict Tasha Steeles to win though.
Hmm.
Maybe
Maybe
Zaya
Giselle
Brookside
Shaw.
is like a come behind because she's somebody that they just signed.
True.
So maybe that's a way to give her something and build her up going forward. But definitely rooting for Tasha Steeles here.
Yeah.
Got Dirty Dango taking on PCO. It's one of those matches. It's a very TNA match where it's just
It
like,
is.
okay. Um, I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm sure there'll be some kooky wrestling tropes in it. I'm just gonna be like, all right.
Kooky. Is this a stipulation match or it's just like I usually know PCO has stipulations?
It's just a singles match.
Oh, got you. That's surprising. I think that Dirty Dango could be a contender for one of their championships, and I hope that they move towards that in the future here. And PCO is just always fun because he'll have at least one spot in his match that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Then got a fire triple threat match for the TNA X Division Championship. Chris Sabin will be defending his belt against El Hido Del Vikingo
Mm,
and Kushida. This
mm.
is gonna be fire.
Wow.
I'm the most looking forward to this match. Everybody in this match is resume speaks for itself.
Hmm.
This is gonna be hard.
Yeah, this is one of the most exciting matches I think on the whole card. Kushida is officially signed to TNA Wrestling, so that's a big
Correct.
sign. I could see him winning this match just off the strength of that. Chris Sabin is so synonymous with the X Division Championship at this point. It was fitting that he got the new championship that they have because that's his championship. And then Vikingo being in every wrestling company there is just great for me.
Remember last year when people were like, who was Vikingo? I think
Hmm.
we very
I think
much
we
know
know.
who Vikingo is at this point.
Hmm.
Yeah, very much looking forward to seeing who's going to win the big mustache belt. Um, I'm assuming Chris Sabin is going to retain, but I
Yeah.
think this is going to be a very very good match.
Hmm.
We've got Trinity defending the TNA Knockouts World Championship against Jordan Grace.
Yeah.
With all the reports coming out, I assume Jordan's going to win here.
Hmm.
But what a great run from Trinity. I'm glad that she got a chance to go somewhere else and show people that she actually can work because a lot of people were throwing a little bit of dirt on her name, and I never liked it.
No.
I don't know if this is the end of the road for her with Impact / TNA, if she's heading back imminently. I don't know what any of this means, but what a great run.
I don't know. Maybe they swerve us. Trinity retains and she enters the Royal Rumble as the TNA Knockouts champion. It happened with Mickey James. Maybe we do it again. That'd be a surprise, but no, I don't really expect that. I
I
expect
don't see that coming.
Jordan Grace to get the victory here tonight. This is exciting, though. I think this is going to be a really great match to have like a culmination of what Trinity has done in Impact Wrestling or TNA Wrestling. What a really great run. I think just kind of coming and showing, yo, I'm way more than you guys think that I am. You guys talk crazy on my name. You guys were putting me in these different positions, but I can go when the bell rings. And being thrown in the fire of the knockouts division and facing all the best knockouts, I think has been awesome. And so this is also great for Jordan Grace because I think that she hasn't had the proper run that she deserves. And I think going into the new the new era of TNA wrestling. Really great time for her to be Knockouts champion.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan has been kind of on all of the promotional material of bringing back TNA. That kind
Right.
of shows the sign that she's probably going to be like the knockout that's going to be the face of this new era
Mm-hmm.
of TNA. It's another reason why I pretty much think she's going to win.
Right.
I'm not mad at it. I think that this is a good spot for her to get a win. It's unfortunate for her that every time she got a big win, it seemed like somebody new was coming in the company,
Mm-hmm.
and it took a little bit of shine off of her. Like she won the other time, but Deonna just came in, and all of the buzz went to Deonna. And
Yeah.
last year was kind of the same thing. She won, and then Masha was just coming in, and
Mm-hmm.
all of the attention started going to Masha.
Then
So-
Killer Kelly came too. It was like, oh
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah. So I think this is gonna be a definitive win for her, and I think she's gonna go on to be kind of face of the division.
Yep.
Last week got the main event: Alex Shelley taking on Moose for the TNA World Championship.
The Animal Man.
I'm guessing that Alex Shelley's gonna retain here. I don't really see the interest in a Moose reign at this point. I could be wrong, but I just don't really see it. And maybe he'll win here, and I'll be wrong, and then people will be posting that clip online. But I don't know. I think that Alex Shelley is gonna retain here.
I hope that's not another reason to get us on a clip is you being wrong about this. Yeah, I can't see Moose winning the TNA championship here, but also, I mean, wouldn't be the most surprising thing in the world. They have invested a little bit of time and space to Moose, so I could see him potentially winning. It wouldn't be the most surprising, but yeah, I think Alex Shelley needs to be the one going here. Again, with the reemergence of TNA, having Alex Shelley as the champ going into this, with all those the lineup of people that we talked about that we think are going to win as champions, I think is super important to have Alex Shelley on top because he represents TNA, as much as anybody else does, him and Chris Sabin. So I think them as champions going into this is a big deal. There wasn't a Knockouts tag team championship match. Like, why do they?
Yeah,
Or did
MK
you
Ultra is not on the card. I'm very surprised.
What's going on here? Last time they were supposed to have the match, and then they put it on a digital match or something. Like, yo, you guys have two of the most incredible women's wrestlers in the whole world. Like, why aren't they on TV?
Yeah, I don't really understand. I guess they're going to present them with the new belts tonight as well because they haven't shown what the new belts look like. So maybe that's the way to get them on the show. But yeah, it is disappointing that they're not on the card. But yeah, it should be a good show. Of course, you can check that out on Impact Plus. I wonder how long it's going to take for them to change the service to something else, not Impact Plus. But yeah, it should be an interesting card.
Yeah, I'm happy to see TNA back. They got some stuff going on tomorrow too. They have tapings. Ospreay's going to be out there, Okada. So this is super interesting to see where they go with this. They got a lot of competition tonight, Phil. They're not the only ones in town. That's the biggest thing I'm worried about. I'm like, there's like 5 wrestling shows going on at the same damn time, and big wrestling shows. Like, I mean, the New Japan show being here in California helps because it won't start until after everything's over pretty much. But it's like, yo, the competition is heavy tonight.
Yeah, a lot of competition. You've got Collision, you've got Battle of the Belts, got Battle in the Valley.
Oh yeah, Battle of the Belts too. I forgot about that.
And I think there's another show that I'm forgetting. But
yeah, the TNA, the New Japan, GCW has a show. AEW has shows. Like, it's deep tonight.
A lot of wrestling. We will get into some Battle in the Valley talk in a second, but first, I want to hit you with a word from our sponsors.
Yes.
We've been telling you about the benefits of fitbod.me/PPV for quite a while now, but there's so much more. 150,000 5-star reviews, over 5 million downloads, 400 million workouts logged. A lot of people have tried out Fitbod, and now you can too. You can get 25% off at fitbod.me/PPV. All of your subscriptions give you full access to their premium features. You need to stop guessing and start working. They have daily workouts that generate your workout of the day based on your muscle freshness, preferred muscle group, and things that you want to target. There's equipment selection. So maybe one day you have bands. Maybe one day you don't. Maybe you have weights one day. Maybe the next you don't. Maybe all you have is the ability to do body weight exercises. They help you out by using the equipment that you have available. There's goal and experience settings. There's muscle recovery. You can connect to your Apple Health, your Fitbit, your Strava, all that good stuff at fitbod.me/ppv. Street counters, timed intervals, circuits and supersets, and you can ask a trainer if the video demonstrations and exercise instructions are not good enough for you. fitbod.me/ppv. That's fitbod.me/ppv.
Yeah. Still weird to think about TNA being back, but
I didn't think we'd be saying that name again, but here we are. TNA Wrestling feels good.
how long do you think it'll take people to stop saying Impact? Just like a lot of people still called it TNA when it was Impact. Now you're gonna have people that are still calling it Impact.
It's going to take at minimum a year. Like, people are going to continuously be on their pod being like, Impact Wrestling. People are going to continuously say Impact Wrestling. Supposed to be on the show with Denise, and she said Impact Wrestling about 20 times. She has not said TNA one time. So it's going to take some. I mean, that was the thing when they switched over. It was like, why am I going to call this Impact Wrestling? It's called TNA, and now I'm conditioned to call it Impact Wrestling, and it's going to take some time to switch back.
Yeah.
What a time.
But as Reg said, we have tonight around the same time at 9 p.m. my time. I believe it is 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Yep.
A Battle of the Valleys will be taking place in San Jose, California. Looks like a very, very stacked card.
Yep.
Very excited for this show. Got Viva Van taking on Stephanie Van Care. Stephanie is one of the ones that I think that every time I see her wrestle, I'm just like, get this woman in more positions, get her on TV. She's just so good. She was really, really good in the tournament last year. Of course, the big talking point was Mercedes versus Willow, but she was also in that tournament, and she was great.
Yeah, she was one of the standouts, I think, of that tournament. Just raw, gritty, really great wrestler. Viva Van is coming up here in California a lot. We've seen her on a couple of AEW programs. I think that in this position on a New Japan show, I think she's going to have a really good showing here. This is a good match to start out the show.
Yeah. Got Jacob Fatu and Fred Roser and Big Shota Umino taking on Team Filthy. It'll be Tom Lawler, Terrell Nelson, and Royce Isaacs in a 6-man tag team match.
A bunch of homies in this.
Yeah. I think that's going to be great. Continue to say Shota is the future of this company.
Yep.
Every time I see him, I just feel like this guy's got it. Man, just the execution of how he came up with the Mox stuff when Mox made his debut over there in Japan, linked himself to Mox, and then ever since then he's gotten more and more popular. The presentation and stuff is coming along. Yeah, really excited to see where Shota Umino goes in 2024.
Yeah, I think that he's a future IWGP heavyweight champion. Who knows how far in the future, but I think that's really exciting that they have a bunch of people kind of on the come up like that. And to see him here is dope. Seeing my homie Jacob Fatu on a New Japan strong style card, I think is super exciting too. He is, of course, part of the bloodline, and people are always asking if he's going to eventually be up there, but he's one of the most raw, gritty, hardcore ass wrestlers you would ever see. So I think this is cool. West Coast Wrecking Crew also and Tom Lawler, I think, are always fun and entertaining and going to bring some hard hitting style. So that's going to be a good fun match.
Yeah. Team Filthy is dope. But I do think that the baby faces are going to win.
Yeah.
I do think that Jacob, Fred, and Shota is going to pick up the win. See, we've got Mascara Dorado Mascara Dorado and Valador Jr. taking on Rocky Romero and Soberano Jr. in a tag match. It's going to be your kind of match. It's going to be lucha style, flips and flips. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is one of those ones on the card for me. You know, some spot food, some flipping and spinning. I think that Rocky Romero in this position, he's a champion in Mexico, is great. Everybody's going to be seeing Sobrano Jr., I think, is going to be something for this San Jose crowd. You got to have some lucha if you're coming to California.
Yeah. Is Rocky still champion? I thought he dropped the belt.
He might have dropped it recently. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he dropped the belt. But
Mm.
got we've got a tie-in to the big Bullet Club United Empire match that's coming up later this year. TJP is going to take on David Finlay, the new IWGP Global Champion. Yeah, TJP again. He always shocks me every time I watch this guy. Like, man, this guy's really, really good. Despite David Finlay as a character being kind of bland to me and being a kind of divisive guy, he's been in some great matches. He finds a way to deliver in ring. I thought the triple threat from Wrestle Kingdom was very, very good. He played his part very well in that, and I expect him to do no less here.
Yeah, I don't love David. I think that he's serviceable, and TJP, I think it's going to take him to a really good match here if they just kind of let him cook, but not the one I'm looking the most forward to.
We've got Gorillas of Destiny, Galeo, El Fantasmo, defending their strong open weight tag championship against the Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connor and Alex Coughlin.
Yep.
Very much looking forward to this. Big fan of the War Dogs. Big fan of what Hikuleo and LP have done over the last few months as a tag team. I think this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, the War Dogs were on the GCW show last night, and they just are badass. I think that their presence, the way that they don't give a fuck about nothing, and they just want to punch people in the mouth, I think is awesome. I could see them winning the championships here because of the run and kind of trajectory that they are on. But Hikuleo and LP, I think, are they represent some kind of spirit for New Japan. You know what I mean? That I think is always needed, and I could see them retaining too.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Hikuleo over the last few months. I think he's improved tremendously as a wrestler.
Yes.
I think he's really good. It's just like, because it's kind of hard to do new things with a big man wrestler, and
Right.
I think that he has managed to do that. I think he's managed to look really impressive with the time they've given him, and LP is man. It's crazy to think about this guy stayed a heel for so long because he's just such a good baby face.
Right.
And he's another one where I'm excited to see where he lands this year. I know there's like contract talks around him, so excited to see what he does.
What do you think? You think he's going to stay in New Japan, or I mean,
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Right?
I think some of the controversy around them replacing their president, it seemed like there were a lot of contracts around that, and I have to assume, part of bringing Tanahashi in. It's kind of a move to keep some people. Definitely seems like that was the case with Okada, because
Right.
we got the report that Okada did not get along with the former president. So I don't know. I don't know what this means.
Yeah, it's if the ace, the big dog of this company, don't get along with the president, we have to do something different. But hey, your homeboy's the president now too, right? We're good.
Yeah. I suspect that Gorillas of Destiny are going to retain here. I could see them splitting the belts as well because they hold both the heavy IWGP heavyweight tag belts as well as these belts. But I kind of feel like they're going to retain because they kind of just won them. So I don't see them losing them this soon. But who knows? We got a potential banger and Julia taking on Trish Adora for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. We've also got contract talks around Julia, of course. That's been a big talking point coming in this year, how much longer she's going to be with Stardom. She just recently broke up Donna Del Mondo, which is kind of a sign that she's on her way out. I don't know. I don't know when exactly she's going to leave Japan and start preparing to come to the U.S., but I'm very much excited for this match. Very much excited to see Trish Adora on this kind of stage. And I love that New Japan Strong has embraced using black women in these kind of moments. I think that is a good sign.
I watched the Julia and Megan Bain match since we last talked about it, and that shit fucking banged. Both of those women are so incredible. Megan Bain on her way. Everybody knows that. Julia, the talk and things surrounding her contract and what she's going to do next are so interesting because she had that interview recently where she was saying that she's in the position that she's in Japan, but she would like to grow bigger, but also she kind of wants to do her thing in America to kind of see how she would fare over there. So I don't really know. There's been talks of her going to NXT, and it's like, yeah, when they have so many great Japanese women's wrestlers, it's like, I just get nervous. That's all I'm saying. Like she should go up there and cook, no problem at all. But I'm just like, anytime they get talent like this, and they have so many of talented ones at the same time, it's hard. Regardless of that, I think that this match is going to be awesome. Trisha Dora being in this spot, I think it's great. We all know that she's trained in the New Japan Dojo out in LA and kind of been on the cusp of getting a moment like this for a while. Like when that tournament was happening, I thought she was going to be a part of it. I thought it was going to be that, but she's at where she needs to be now, and I'm excited about this. And what if she won? I don't know.
Yeah, I would love it if she won.
If Julia's leaving, what's up?
I wouldn't be mad either way with either outcome. I kind of believe Julia's going to retain, but I wouldn't, of course, not be mad at Trisha Dora picking up the big win here. I think there's so much you can do with Trisha Dora as champion, going back to AEW. I don't know. Of course, the contract stuff makes this kind of confusing. It makes it tough to predict. But at this moment, I'm going to say Julia's going to retain.
Yeah.
We've got Matt Riddle and a partner of his choosing taking on TMDK, Zack Sabre Jr., and Bad Dude Tito in a tag match. Yeah, I'm very much curious to see who his mystery partner is going to be. Of course, he showed up on screen at New Year Dash and called out President Tanahashi for the television championship, I assume. Yeah, I don't know. I have to assume that if it's because if he's challenging Tanahashi, it's maybe somebody that also has beef with Tanahashi.
Or they're gonna do some wacky ass shit and do this can they coexist thing, and it is Tanahashi.
Oh yeah, maybe. I hope not.
You didn't like that at all.
No.
You said, "Oh."
Oh.
But you can see it happening though, right?
Yeah, I definitely can.
That's because Zack Sabre Jr. is on the other side too. It's like, unfortunate. It could also be Nick Nemeth. He was at the Tokyo Dome show. He could be here in this position. If he's not at the Impact show, I could see him over here.
Yeah, Nick makes sense. But now that you say it, yeah, Tanahashi does make sense because Tanahashi did lose to Zack Sabre at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I can see it. I am curious to see how Riddle's gonna work with TMDK. See how he's gonna work. I'm sure Zack Saber's gonna try and fold this guy up like a pretzel.
Definitely.
But very curious to see how those styles mix in this match. Could be a really underrated match.
I'm interested to see how the crowd reacts to Riddle because it's in San Jose. It's a crapshoot. Like it could be something or it could be nothing. We're gonna see. The reactions off a rip. Probably will be okay though.
Yeah, I see people in the chat are saying that it could be Jeff Cobb. Maybe they're gonna reunite the Chosen Bros. Maybe. Okay.
Potentially.
We've got the Triple Crown champion Eddie Kingston defending his belt against Gabe Kidd. Very much excited for this. Gabe Kidd is one of those guys that I think this guy, every time I see him talk, every time I see him doing anything, he's just an exciting guy to watch, cut promos, really good wrestler. I said constantly that, man, while I'm not the biggest fan of Finlay as leader, he has assembled a great group of guys for Bullet Club. All of the guys he brought in are guys I'm a big fan of. Maloney, Gabe Kidd, the War Dogs. Very interested to see where all of those guys go this year.
I'm like, I think the leader is my least favorite part of Bullet Club at this point. Like everybody else are heavy hitters. They're all like some young gunners. But yeah, when they get to the leader, I'm like, all right.
I think this match is going to be fire. I think it's going to be hard hitting. I expect Kingston to retain, of course, but I think this is going to be a fun one. Yeah,
I'm excited for all the matches that Eddie Kingston has had post Continental Classic have been interesting bangers, different type work matches. I'm expecting this one to be different than all the other matches. And Eddie Kingston has been pretty tremendous out in San Jose. Last time I saw him there was against Jay White in Loser Leaves Town match, and that shit banged. So if it's something like that again, it's going to be dope.
Yeah, Eddie's been on a really, really good run
Mhm.
since last year. When I did a Top Rope Nations podcast on Thursday,
Mhm.
and we talked about who is Wrestler of the Year. At one point, part of the conversation was Eddie Kingston should be in that conversation for Wrestler of the Year.
You
And when I
should.
really think about the argument, yeah, he was one of the best wrestlers of 2023.
He was.
Just the run he went on,
Yeah.
the big wins he got out there, got the big win against Claudio at Grand Slam,
Mhm.
got the storyline in the Continental Classic, beat most of his biggest rivals.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna go on as like one of the biggest highlights of his career. Ended the year on a really, really high note. And of course, he was in the G1, made his debut in the G1. He had a really, really good year.
I mean, when you break it out, like I didn't even have to think hard to be like, yeah. But then when you break it down like that, I'm like, oh damn, yeah, Eddie Kingston. He went for it this year. He beat Brian and Mox back to back. Like the resume is strong out here, and I think to cap it off with the championships and matches like this is awesome. I think he might even have a greater year in 2024, just kind of knowing like, okay, that's what he can do in that position. Let's put him in this one, and I think he's going to excel even more.
Yeah, yeah. Very much looking forward to this match. But man, Shingo Takagi is taking on John Moxley
God damn.
in a no disqualification match. Very, very much excited for this match. This was one of those that I hopped out of my seat early in the morning watching New Year Dash after Shingo laid down this challenge. Very, very much excited for this. Mox is must-see wrestler at this point for me. He is just... Man, he's legendary at this point. Man. He's a great promo guy. He's gonna have the fun matches. You know, there's gonna be blood. There will be blood.
Yeah.
Shingo is one of the best wrestlers in the world. Hard hitting, just tremendous wrestler. It's wild to think about it, but I almost feel like he's a little bit underrated at this point because I don't think that we talk about him nearly enough.
Right.
But yeah, this is gonna be a banger.
This is Moxley has gotten into that position of every one of his matches is must see, like you said. Like there's gonna be some kind of moment, some kind of something that draws you to it. But just the way that Mox is so passionate about this shit, the way that he goes about it, you could feel it exuding off of him anywhere he is, when he talks, when he wrestles. It's just like you want to see this guy win. Shingo, just like you said, he's in a land of great wrestlers. There's matches that happen on a weekly, monthly basis in New Japan that are some of the greatest matches of all time. And he's been a part of all of those. It's crazy, you know, like you got Okada and Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr. and all these people kind of doing the stuff that Shingo gets lost in the shuffle somehow. And he could, if he given the opportunity, be the number one wrestler in the world if given the shot. Like that's how good this guy is. He's been this good for a really, really, really long time. This match with Mox is going to be awesome. It's Mox's bag. No disqualifications. Shingo gets to just let loose. There's going to be some hard-ass clotheslines. There's going to be a bunch of hard strikes. Like Phil said, there's going to be blood. This could potentially be match of the night.
Yeah, for sure.
With this main event, this still could be. It's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And the main event. Kazuchika Okada taking on Will Ospreay. Of course, these guys have very long history together. Stablemates at one point in Chaos. Rivals at one point when Ospreay turned heel and started United Empire. Took him the longest time to get a win over Okada. Finally got a win over him. Was that in the New Japan Cup or was that in the G1? It's in the G1, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but I believe it was the G1. It's in the New Japan Cup. Sorry. It's early in the morning. But finally got his win over him last year. And so I think it's only fair that if he's leaving this company in 2024, you've got to have a big Ospreay match with Okada. I think this is the place to have it. I'm glad that they're getting the main event spot. They might not have gotten a main event spot on like a bigger New Japan show where you got all these titles. You got the world title. I think this is going to be amazing because of both who these two guys are, and then it's Ospreay. Ospreay ain't missing, man. He's going to have an amazing match.
This is I've seen people being like, for the last time ever. I don't think this is for the last time ever. Also,
No,
like these guys are
not.
definitely going to wrestle at some point somewhere again. Yeah, I think if you are kind of teasing this, Osprey's about to ride off into the sunset into AEW. Let's get out some banging ass matches before. This is one of those ones. Kind of having what you're saying of like, if this was on a big show in Japan, they wouldn't be the main event. But being able to be here, there's really no stakes. But I mean, when it's Osprey and Okada, like the stakes are you're about to see one of the best matches you've ever seen. Osprey hasn't missed in 5 years at this point. Okada, big match Okada, just never, he can't. And to put those two elements together in San Jose, New Japan, the time, there's mystery behind Okada's contract. We know where Osprey's going. I think they're going to produce one of those ones. And this year has already started out with an amazing Okada match against Bryan Danielson. The year started out last year with an amazing Osprey match against Kenny Omega. So will they be able to top that Bryan Danielson match with Okada already? I'm interested in seeing it. This match is going to be crazy. On top of that card, these two guys, all the elements are there.
Yeah. It was the G1 I was thinking of.
G1.
He beat him in the G1. Yeah. There's a lot of story stuff going into this match. I feel like this is kind of like a farewell for now match with Okada for Osprey.
Right.
So there's a lot of emotion and stuff that's going to go into it. Very much looking forward to this main event. I think this is going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
And I think Osprey's last match with Bullet Club is going to also be very good. It's going to be a cage match. Looking forward to
5-on-5 cage match. You don't get a lot of those often.
Yeah, so very much looking forward to that one. Yeah, a lot to look forward to this show. It's going to be a later show, so if you do want to watch some of the Impact show, if you do want to watch Collision beforehand, you do have time to get that in and watch this up. If you want to have Battle of the Belts on at the same time, you can throw that on. Plenty of options.
What you about to be watching?
I'm definitely going to watch this show. I'm definitely going to order Battle in the Valley. Battle of the Belts has been kind of missable for most of the time. Like there's not many surprises.
Let's talk about it. Why? What is the? It's just the name at this point. Like it doesn't really hold weight, right? It's just called Battle of the Belts, and there's champions on there, but it's not like we're not about to see anybody lose their belts.
No, no, and I think that's the big thing with Battle of the Belts every year. Nobody ever really loses, and so there's no real surprises coming out of it. Like even if you look at the card for it. Like, there's nothing on that card that's like.
I don't think Ricky and Bill are gonna lose to Sammy and Jericho.
Yeah, I think that's the one that's the most in the air for people. I think that based off the outcome of Ricky versus Sammy on Dynamite, I can see people feeling like, all right, maybe that's the sign that Sammy and Jericho are going to win. I actually think the opposite. I think that was the visual pin for Sammy, and that was to show you that Ricky and Big Bill are going to retain.
Especially with how upset everybody, because all I saw coming out of that were people being like, I can't believe Ricky Starks lost. I can't believe blah, blah, blah. So that leads me to believe even more that they're going to win.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to take the belt off of Ricky in that way, especially like you said, with how unpopular that was online. And then you've got the Jericho controversy around it. I think it would be crazy to come out of that and put belts on those two guys. That would be insane.
That would be so wild. If out of all this, like people are like, there's stuff surrounding Jericho they haven't talked about, and then they just make him a champ.
Yeah, no.
Probably wouldn't
got
do
the TBS title match as well. Anna Jay is challenging Julia Hart. I don't think that Anna Jay is going to win. Anna Jay has continued to be impressive every time that they give her singles matches, though. I think she had a good one recently, but I don't think she's going to win here. There's still so much stuff to do with Julia Hart as champion. I don't think they're going to cut it short.
I don't think they've gotten to the point that they really needed to get to with this reign. She's just coming up. She's improving better and better every match, and I think her being a champion is helping even more. So I can't see her losing that belt right now.
Nah. Orange Cassidy's got a title defense against Preston Vance. I don't think Preston's
why. Yeah, I don't really.
And Preston's dope, man. I think Preston's one of those guys that I would like to see more on TV, just to see more of what he can do.
Oh, they're rewarding. I see. They did the matches on Wednesday with Preston and Anna, and now they're getting title matches. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's the payoff of all of the Brody stuff from earlier this week. And so yeah, I mean, I think that there's good stuff going into this, but I don't see either of them winning their title matches.
Now with the kind of how the night is laid out, would you have maybe went harder on the Battle of the Belts gimmick, or is it just like kind of how it feels like Battle of the Belts? It's like, all right, we've gotten to the point where we got to do another Battle of the Belts. Let's have matches on there.
Yeah, I just don't really see the purpose of Battle of the Belts at this point, man.
Right.
Especially because you have wrestling on Saturdays now. You have Collision. So if you, I don't understand why, if you're gonna do Battle of the Belts, why not make it like a special episode of Collision?
Like a
making it another hour of wrestling. I just
Yeah.
don't really get the purpose of it. And like I said, none of these Battle of the Belts have really been anything of note. There's rarely a title change.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it's kind of like following the formula of what WCW used to do with Clash of the Champions, and it was just like they're giving us another time, blah blah blah. They probably have like 4 or 5 of these a year. Like, here's our time, but it's not that hard to make this something. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to continue to be like this. It doesn't have to continue to be just a show. Like, you have the roster, you have the talent, you have the championships, to where you could add something to this where people aren't just like, oh, there's another Battle of the Belts. I don't really care about it, you know?
Yeah.
Nobody's going out of their way to watch this show tonight.
No, and especially with so much competition, you've got TNA, you've got Battle of the Valleys, you've got some major one-on-one matches on that card. I don't see people passing up the New Japan show to watch Battle of the Belts. At least I'm not going to. I can't speak for everybody, of course, but I'm not going to.
I think it's going to be. I mean, you got Orange Cassidy, you got, and the elements are going to be good, but it's just like not enough to get me away from another show.
No, not enough to entice me to have 2 screens up, and I might have it up, but hey, you're talking about possibly juggling 3 screens up at that point, because I'm sure the TNA show will still be going on.
Yeah,
at that point. Yeah, I'm good. I'll probably watch it tomorrow, anything, but I probably won't watch it live.
Good night of wrestling, though. If you like pro wrestling, it's a night to eat.
Yeah, really, really good night of wrestling. We had a very interesting week of wrestling this week. I did not expect Raw's talking point to be Seth Rollins having a new challenger for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I mean, look, I knew he was going to have some more defenses coming up because it's getting up to that point. And, we haven't had a Gunther defense in a minute. So I figured we were going to get another Rollins
Where's
defense.
Gunther? Is Gunther hurt?
No, I don't think he's hurt.
Why hasn't he been on TV? Oh, didn't he just like go on vacation or something?
Well, they just had a kid.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Right.
So
I was like, I know there's some kind of family thing, and not a bad thing, like a.
Yeah, so maybe he's taking some time off for that, but as far as I know, I don't think that he's injured. But yeah, so
why is Jinder in this match? Because he was out with The Rock a few weeks ago. Like, I just don't really understand.
This very much feels like a reward Jinder for being a good sport thing.
Gotcha.
Jinder had a good moment with Rock, and I think he
probably was like,
well.
He probably was like, I'll do anything you guys want. It doesn't matter. I'm here.
He was a good sport.
Company
he made his return last week on Raw, and then he got to be the butt of the joke for Rock and Papa rating with Rock, and I think they probably looked at it like, all right, well, he was a good sport here. You always hear people over there say how much they like Jinder, how much of a good guy they see him as. So I think this was kind of like a way to reward him by giving him a big match. I don't think he's gonna win. I do, of course. I do think it's very funny that people then went, all right, well, Jinder's never winning. So why does he keep getting title match? That's how he got his initial title match where he won a championship, guys. This is kind of his thing. And you know how they do things over in WWE. They don't really care about wins and losses. They care about what is the story, how can I build to this? Yep. And I don't think it's a terrible idea to come out of Rock segment and go, all right, I held my own in this Rock segment. I popped a big rating. He can get to say that he popped that rating, even though he really didn't. But that's the heel thing to do. He's going to come out of that segment and say, I did it. And come out and cut the promo where he's like, oh, you're supporting all these American degenerates, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I guess in storyline and kayfabe purposes, if you as a heel popped a big rating, like you should be rewarded with the title match. You know what I mean? Like if we're just talking about kayfabe, and I think
Yeah.
like the controversy of what eventually happened is like that's silly. Like this is semantics. Like he's a former world champion. Like it never when a match like this is announced, there are some people that are like, why, blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, it doesn't fucking matter, dude. Like
Yeah,
Seth
this
Rollins
feels
is gonna wrestle Jinder on
yeah,
Monday and beat him. You know, who cares?
this feels very much like a filler program in the middle of the week, or in the middle of the month, to before we get to Royal Rumble, because we don't have anything else for Rollins to do, and we just want to give him a title defense under his belt. I wouldn't be surprised if this is kind of a swerve as well. If this is a way to get Rollins in a match and then you tease another cash in, wouldn't be surprised at all if Priest ends up winning that belt before Royal Rumble, and the match at Royal Rumble
think so?
is Seth Rollins versus Priest or some kind of multi-man.
We only
match.
got what 2 more Raws before that.
Yeah.
13?
Because at this
Okay.
point, what is Rollins' match going to be at Royal Rumble? We have no idea at this point, and we've got 2 weeks to build that match.
I thought it was going to be Drew, but it seems like it's not.
Yeah, I could see Drew coming in and beating down Seth after the match, and then
That's
Damian
how
Priest coming in and picking the bones, and then it leading to possibly a multi-man match or a one-on-one match with.
You think that Rollins wins it back though?
I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's where we're going with this, because people that just seem like, oh, why would they do this in the middle out of nowhere? I'm like, either it's filler or it's just to distract us, because I mean that's essentially what they did last week. Throw Jinder out there to distract people from what we're actually doing.
Well, I think that you brought up a good point of they have to continuously, I think, tease these cash-ins too. Like I
Right.
think that's an inaugural part, and you can't have the cash-in tease without the title match.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this is a way to build up to a failed cash in for Damian Priest.
Which I hope not.
I don't know, but I don't think it was the worst thing in the world. The segment was very funny because he came out and this was what was funny about Twitter being Twitter. And he came out, he was doing all the usual heel stick, was not getting much of a reaction.
No.
The entire time, Rollins was looking at him with this confused look on his face, like, what are you doing out here? Like, what is this? And I think that's what made the entire segment for me even funnier, is him just looking at him like,
What is this?
What is this? What are you talking about? And when he finished, he was like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to give you the title match. And I was just like, is he right?
Is he right?
But, of course, Rollins is a fighting champion. He was standing out there with his like his snakeskin outfit on that looked like a pair of like those really, really baggy boots that women wear. I don't know, but it's going to be a serviceable match. I think Rollins is Rollins. He's going to try and get the best match out of this as possible. We're going to get the usual lies and pander on Twitter of people going, look, man, y'all hate Jinder, but he can work.
See?
Blah, blah, blah. But of course, out of this, the bigger talking point, Tony Khan decided he was going to tweet in the midst of this because the boy Hook is also getting a title match coming up next week against Samoa Joe. And so he chose to go at the USA account, and he chose to go at the criticism that there's no reason to give Hook this title match because he hasn't done anything to get this title match. I didn't really understand people that didn't get what TK was saying, because I felt like it was pretty obvious. I don't think he was trying to take a shot at Jinder as a person.
It wasn't about Jinder.
I think he was commenting on the hypocrisy of people on Twitter. And now, do I think he should have tweeted that? No, I don't think he should have tweeted that. But I understood what he was getting at. I don't understand why people then turned it into something that it wasn't. Turned it into
I'm on Team Jinder. I'm Jinder side. Like it's not. That's not what this was about at all. He didn't say this. Why is Jinder getting a shot? He's the worst wrestler I've ever seen. No, he said, why is Jinder getting a shot? He hasn't won a match in a year. He didn't say anything about Jinder being a terrible wrestler, not deserving to be on the roster. He just said, why is he getting the shot when he hasn't won a match? People misconstrued that into actually Jinder's run was the greatest run, his champion. I'm like, all right, you guys. You could just be like, I disagree, and we move forward. But It
Yeah,
turned
this
into
turned
something.
into the usual Twitter nonsense. People ran with this and blew it up, and I just didn't really understand. You had gender, um, you had gender trending that day. Gender himself tweeted out something and then deleted it. You had a bunch of other people chiming in. It just was ridiculous. I just didn't
I was gonna
understand
say, what did
why.
Jinder delete? But he deleted who the fuck is Hook.
Yeah, who the fuck is Hook? Which I thought was funny. I thought that was a funny
That's
response from
funny.
Jinder. I thought that he made the best of the moment.
Totally.
Um, yeah, I just didn't think any of this was necessary. I didn't think Tony should have tweeted that, but I also thought the reaction to it was way overboard as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I thought people were being very disingenuous as well. I think people
Yeah.
were acting like, oh well, your booking doesn't have logic to it either. But I think it's very clear what they're doing here with the Hook thing. I think
Mm-hmm.
to have Joe come out and cut that promo and make a point to say, "Hey, don't challenge me unless you have a winning record. Don't
Mm-hmm.
challenge me unless you're one of those guys." It felt very obvious that either they're trying to bring the ranking back or they're
Yep.
going back to sports-based booking, where it's like, "Hey, you get a title match based on what is your record based on what you've done this year."
Mm-hmm.
And if we're talking about Hook, Hook has only lost one match. So
Yep.
yeah, Hook can say, "Hey man, I've been deserving a world heavyweight title match because
Mm-hmm.
I don't lose that often." Now,
Yep.
you can jump into the quality of opponents he's had, you can do all this other stuff, but I thought it made sense, and I thought people that were running with, "Oh, well, Hook getting this title match doesn't make sense either." I'm like, yeah, but if you pay attention to what else they're doing, it's very clear
Mm-hmm.
that they're trying to lead in a direction of bringing back the rankings.
Yeah, that's probably where Tony could have. That's what should have happened. Is Tony should have just shown instead of telling. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he
Like,
shouldn't have said anything.
this is how we're do. Like, we have a different program. We're presenting the space, a sports based thing, and it's different over here. That's it. Like, just showing. You don't have to be like, why are you guys being hypocrites? Because they're always going to be hypocrites no matter what. Like that. I think that's where it needs to land. Is Tony, you know the game. Like, they're always going to be, no matter what you do, they're always going to do that shit. Like, even if you continuously do good, they're still going to be like blah blah blah, because that's just how they are. Those fans, you're never going to convince them. They don't care about any of that.
No, absolutely not. And I just think it's two different companies. They're two different booking philosophies. And that's why I said I can see kind of the makings of what I think that WWE is doing. And I can also see what AEW is doing with this title match. It is very interesting that you're getting both of these title matches in the same week. But I think they're both doing two different things with them. But as usual, it's Twitter. And Twitter likes to pit one against the other and turn it into this pointless debate. And just, in reality, none of this stuff really matters.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit on Ask Grapsody. The rankings, like, it seemed like Samoa Joe was like, "You got to have a record to come and talk to me." And then when Hook came out, they made it an emphasis to be like, "He's 28-1, numbers,
Mhm.
numbers, numbers." Do you think that they're gonna go in on the rankings with the bringing back the numbers on the lower thirds and shit? Like, do you think that's gonna happen, or is it just kind of to push what Samoa Joe's doing?
Um, I think it's twofold. I think Joe coming out and saying that he wanted to be the champion that got back to the Graps, and he
Mm-hmm.
also did the interview with Sports Illustrated where he was saying he wanted to be the champion that brought the focus back to what's happening in the ring. None of this
Right.
backstage drama, none of this other stuff. I want to focus on the wrestling. I think it's twofold. I think it's that Joe is a no nonsense guy, and he's a guy that has kind of kept himself out of any of the drama and any of the internet stuff. So I think as a company, they're kind of making the point that we want to move forward with just focusing on what we've always done best, and that's the wrestling. And then I also feel like it's partially to bring back the rankings as well, because I don't think it's a coincidence that you would keep saying things about numbers,
Yeah.
rankings, and it's kind of been 2 weeks in a row where they've done those kind of nods.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that there's a definite hint here that they're bringing back the rankings in some way. I don't know if it's permanent, but I would not be surprised if that announcement's made next week.
Yeah, I think it's a kind of a little element that adds on to what the spirit of AEW was off rip. I think that when they stopped doing the rankings, people were kind of like, "Well, what's going on?" But then you got to that muddy point of like FTR was consistently brought into every conversation because they had this winning record and they weren't getting the title shot. So it's like, do you want to run into that problem again if you start ranking everybody? There's some wrestlers who never lose, and so you're going to run into that. Like, I can't see Wardlow losing any matches before they do whatever kind of title match they're going to try to do. So like you're going to run into problems like that again. So I understand why they stopped doing the rankings, but I think it for what Samoa Joe's trying to do, it's going to help.
Yeah. I like the rankings. So
Yeah.
if this is the rankings coming back, I'm excited for that.
Mhm.
I thought it made AEW stand out. I thought it made AEW different. And I very much like the idea of sports-based wrestling, and I very much like the idea of wins and losses mattering.
Right.
Now, it got a little bit muddy, like you said, having people go to dark and stack up numbers, and then come back and have the record, so it justified them getting a title shot. It didn't always work execution-wise, but I do think it would be interesting to see what AEW looks like doing the rankings with Dark no longer being a thing.
Right.
So,
all wins are important now. There aren't any like padded wins at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't know. Which I thought about Dark the other night, and I was like, man, I kind of miss Dark. They don't need Dark anymore because they have so much programming. But
Yeah, Ring of Honor.
It was just certain things that you were doing on Dark that I just feel like it served a purpose.
I mean, reps, man. There's nothing as especially with kind of wrestlers that they employ. As a young wrestler, there's nothing better than reps, and AEW Dark was just reps on reps on reps. Like you saw people develop here on screen just because they're given the time and opportunity. Some people are never given the opportunity because they're not on Dynamite or Collision or Rampage or anything. You know what I mean? So like that was just another outlet. You know that the no-name people or the people on the come up are going to get a shot at. So yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. I think that Ring of Honor is kind of filling that void in some spaces, but even then, it's not enough as compared to what Dark and Dark Elevation were doing.
Yeah. Which I mean, man, you had 2 Dark shows on YouTube at one point. That seems like it was so long ago.
It was like Monday and Tuesday too. They were like back to back. Like that was a different time.
It was a lot of wrestling. And I'm like, you got all this wrestling on TV, and then you have 2 YouTube channels. It's a lot.
It's interesting. It's just all silly. Like I think it could have been this whole Twitter controversy thing could have been funny, but like people just
Look,
can't.
man, people don't allow things to just be funny. People have to take it too seriously, and I thought most of it was funny, and that's why I refused to comment on any of it. I just saw it from afar, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a funny thing that happened, and moved on. But people that were then going on a Twitter rants and go, oh, this is why nobody takes you seriously, Tony Khan. You got to put your phone down, blah blah blah. Like, who cares, man? I don't think you should have tweeted that either, but I really don't think it's that serious.
It's not. It's just a tweet.
It's just a tweet. And people were going and finding other things like gender tweets. I guess there are like some Randy Orton tweets that, some tweets that Randy Orton liked that people screenshotted and just like.
When people go to find likes, I'm like, you gotta get a job.
Once you start going in wrestlers' likes and screenshotting things, I'm like, what are we doing now?
Get a job, dude. You can't be at home doing research on likes, man. Come on.
Yeah, nah. Once it gets into that territory, I'm like, yeah, we're out of here. But then I also, like we talked about on Ask Grapsody, I saw people then retroactively trying to go back and act like the gender reign was better than it was. We got to give him his flowers because it was an underrated run. Like, come on, guys. Like, cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out.
Not underrated. We don't need to go back and give him his flowers. No, it's okay. It served the purpose that exactly it was supposed to.
The funny thing about all of this is that we were just here a few months ago where people were saying that Nakamura should get his moment. He should be champion. And they hated that Rollins beat him twice. Hey, man, he would have been champion if they did not have Jinder beat him twice.
Yep.
So why are you now saying that this was all a good thing? It wasn't?
It wasn't good. It was bad. It was bad.
There were aspects
for what it represented, yes, I'm all in. India, the people out there, the culture, probably seeing somebody that looks like you as black men, we know.
Yeah. I totally understand. The representation aspect of it, I absolutely understand. I understand people enjoying Jinder getting like this elevation on the card as well. He got like the better entrance and everything. His theme music was fire. That's one of the things I will give him credit for as champion. He had great theme music. Really big fan of the Sings. I really liked them being with him as
they were awesome.
Taking the crazy bumps. I miss the Sings. I wish the Sings would have stayed with the company. But Yeah, the way people were trying to hype up that reign, like it was underrated. I was like, oh guys, we don't have to do this, man. We do not have to do this.
Revisionist history is at an
We
all-time high.
we do not have to lie like this, man. It's okay, man.
It's like the people that you need to convince aren't like you're not going to convince me, and the people that think that already think that. So why are you saying this? Y'all are lying, but I'm with it.
Yeah, and to Shane Monster's point, the Jinder and Knock feud was bad. It wasn't just that. It wasn't just the Nakamura loss. The feud was bad. You had him cutting that promo that was kind of racist, like, and I feel like it undermined what his character was up to that point of him being the guy of saying, "You guys only boo me because I look different," and then he gets straight into a feud with a Japanese guy. And he's making like stereotypical Japanese jokes and like pronouncing L's as R's and things.
It's
I'm
like,
what is this? Why are we doing this?
Doesn't make sense. You were just saying everybody's racist. Why are you being racist?
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Don't hinder gender, Phil.
Don't hinder that. And look, that was funny for the first few weeks. I had a blast laughing at this. Are you kidding me? As a guy that did not want to see Orton as champion again, I had a ball laughing at that. But after that, after the memes were a thing, and after we got
about
our jokes
3
in,
weeks, I was like, all right, guys.
It outlasted its welcome. Yeah, no.
All of it's just so silly. Let's get into a few super chats before we move forward. Will Chisholm says, do y'all think we see AJ Lee at the Rumble? We talked about that a little bit.
I don't know. I hope so. I think that'd be a cool spot to bring her in.
Not to win, though.
No, I just like as a surprise entrant. I think that'd be really cool.
Wildebeest says, when do you think we'll see Mercedes? Revolution? ? Also, I just watched American Fiction and loved it as an Asian person, but was curious if y'all were going to see it and what y'all thought about it.
I'm not up on this. American Fiction, what's that?
Yeah, it's I saw some previews of it. It's a movie about a black man. He's an author or something. It looks really good. Issa Rae's in it. Like, it looks like a movie I would actually watch. You should definitely look into it. But where Mercedes Revolution, I could see it happening at Revolution if it is going to happen over in AEW.
I don't know. I think that people doing the Mercedes watch every week, and then every week she doesn't show up. We got to listen to the complaining. She's going to show up when she shows up. I just think people just got to wait and see. I do still think that at this point, chances are very high that it's going to be AEW. Based on all the reports we've seen so far, Zarian seems pretty sure that it's happening. So, and Zarian's not a guy that just reports things to report it. He's usually accurate.
Yep.
So I still think she's gonna pop up in AEW. I'm sure she's gonna continue to troll people, and there's gonna still be speculation around Royal Rumble if she's gonna be there. We'll see for sure after Royal Rumble what speculation turns into if she's not there. But I would assume by Revolution.
I'm thinking I don't know who's convinced me, but I'm in on this if she is going to AEW, the CM Punk style. Yeah. We're in Boston, that she's going to be here, but we're not saying it's type of debut,
I don't know the next time that AEW's in Boston. So
yeah. But that's what I would be into. Like, we're not saying that she's going to be here, but that she's going to be here. So pull up. So maybe not Revolution, because that's supposed to be Sting's night. Devil Kazuya.
That is true. I forgot about that part. So maybe not Revolution, because that is going to be like, he's going to be the biggest talking point of that night. So
that's all Sting. Devil Kazuya 27 says, January 13th warning, Tito Ortiz is showing up tonight. What is that?
Yes.
I hope not. I hope he shows up nowhere. If he was the big TNA signing, I'd be like, you guys, this is not 13 years ago. Juan Ortega says Sheeta versus Amanada and Trish versus Julia, women striving.
Yeah, man, big shout out to Amanada. She's been having a good run so far since she's been back. 2 good matches, I feel. Had a really, really good match with Sheeta.
That Sheeta match, brother.
Man, I've been thinking this for a few weeks, but Rampage is quietly their best show.
Rampage.
When did that happen? Rampage was very good last night.
It was. I watched it. It's been like this for a few weeks too. It's just like this show that they kind of hide away. Like, we'll have these matches over here, but the matches are on fire. And I thought the Sheeta and Amanada match was so fucking good. People were talking about it earlier this week. They're like, oh, they have this Japanese style match, and I was like, all right, let me see it. But then you see it, and you're like, oh shit, they were really going for it.
They were
Sheeta,
going
of
for it.
course, is the MVP of the women's division, has been for a long time. But I think this recent rise of Aminata and her being featured on all these shows, this match was incredible. You guys should definitely check it out.
Yes, that makes me think of, speaking of AEW Dark, she was big on AEW Dark at
She
one
was.
point, and that was the thing that I kept showing people, like, man, if you've never seen her matches anywhere else, the Dark matches are it. This is it. Sign this woman. That's why when the report came out this week that she signed, I'm like, man, this is long overdue for me as somebody that's seen the run on Dark, seen the run with Battle Slam. She was at one point the MVP for Battle Slam. She was having the best matches on those shows. She was the most over on those shows. Very happy for her, man. I'm really happy that she came out the other side of what was going on with her, and she's back. Condolences to her again, because she spoke about her father recently again. But yeah, very excited to see her back on TV. Very glad to see that the AEW fan base is embracing her, and she's having the good matches.
The first African-born women's wrestler in AEW. I think that I could see her being a champion before 2024 is over. I'm thinking right now the ROH Women's Television Champion, the new championship that they're going to create, might have her name written all over it, because they're loving her over there in Ring of Honor too. Like, what a great ascent to the top. And we talked about Tristan Julia tonight is going to fucking bang.
Yeah.
Bragov says, hey, what's up, Bragov? Shout out to Bragov. Says, you guys are dope. Fightful is dope. Appreciate
you,
that.
Bragov.
Will Chisholm says, they kept playing Jericho's music, was nasty. I did laugh hard though.
Very awkward. Very, very, very awkward. Very, very awkward. I'm
like, oh, they're gonna keep playing a song like New Jack? They don't usually do that. But
see,
here we are.
That's also why I think the Jericho and Sammy aren't winning, because if you got to do that just for
if you have to do that,
that tells me you're worried about what this win is going to look like, and then how are you going to finesse this and get fans to not boo it. I don't see Jericho winning tonight.
I'm like, if you're worried about this in Florida, like, you are very worried. Like, that's the place I think you don't have to be worried at. Like, it would have been fine if you'd have just let Jericho come out. It's fucking Florida. But no, they were like, nah, we're not even going to let it get there. I thought it was hella interesting when I'm like, man, we ain't never heard the second verse of Judas. What the hell's going on here? People don't even know the words to this. What the hell's going on?
They played it loud. They kept it running until the entire segment was over. Yeah.
Brother getting to the bridge and the breakdowns and shit. I'm like, yo. I ain't never heard this version. But yeah, they're trying to get away. They're trying to nip it in the bud. Where are they at tonight? Norfolk, Virginia?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to care about the Jericho shit. Like, this is a place where you don't, like, I think you'll be fine. They're not going to be anybody in that crowd that's like, fuck Jericho.
Maybe, but I still think they're losing. But
I do too.
We also got the Jericho MVP report this week, which became a thing for Body Slam, and that was a talking point on the timeline for a minute. And then MVP comes out and tweets, you guys heard any rumors lately?
Now somebody pulled up his he had like an old Instagram post, and it was him and Jericho, and he's like, "This fool keeps avoiding me, but you won't be able to avoid me at the Jericho Cruise." What? You haven't seen it? Yeah, he's like, no. I'm going to be at the Jericho Cruise. I'm going to see you, big dog. What? Yes. It's like picture of him wrestling Jericho. He's like, this will keep talking shit and avoiding me. You're not going to be able to avoid me at the Jericho Cruise. And he wasn't able to avoid him at the Jericho Cruise.
I did not see that.
But why would you? Phil, this man was in jail for 9 years. What does Jericho think? Like, why are you're beefing with the wrong guy?
Yo, MVP was like, nah.
I'm gonna see you.
I'm gonna see you when I
on
see you,
your
bro.
Cruise. I'm gonna see you on your cruise.
Ain't nothing these straight but straightening, bro. I'm gonna see you when I see you. Bro.
I'm gonna see you. You can't get off the boat, bro. I want to know where the knockout happened. Like, what going on here? Like, he pulled up on him, man. Like, I told you, nigga. Here I am.
Wow. Yeah, no, I did not see this tweet. That's really funny.
Yes. He's like, got a show on the Jericho Cruise, bro. You won't be able to avoid me. Whew, man. I just don't. But seriously though, why are you beefing with MVP? Like, this is a real nigga. Like, there's some people out here,
Well, I mean,
but this is a real nigga.
We've seen some of MVP's tweets about politics as well, so
Yeah, I mean, I see.
makes
why.
sense that they might possibly not get along. Wait a minute. MVP popping up at the crew. Surprise, 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 surprise.
But my thing was like, when I read that thing, I'm like, why didn't he just unbook him for the cruise, bro? Like, what? You're not coming here. What do you mean? Like, he had a show and everything. Like, cancel that show. This nigga's crazy. He's after me.
Oh man, MVP is very much a guy that I still want to interview at some point.
Definitely.
I definitely want to interview
Come
him. And I keep
on,
wondering, like, what are they
man.
doing with him? Why is he not on TV, man? Definitely
Why
miss
is he
him
not
on TV.
They still got him attached to Omos, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of that, what do you think of this this new name that they have for Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits? Apparently, their crew's going to be called The Pride. Have you heard about this?
Like Lion King, like the
Yeah,
lion?
yes. Like
Wow.
Lashley has it in his bio, the leader of the Pride. Yeah, same.
Could work.
But
It sounds a little It sounds a little odd. It might grow on me. But
The Pride.
the
I'm not
Pride?
off rip. I'm not really seeing it. I'm not hearing it.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to get it cracking, man. You got to split them belts up. You got to give Street Profits something to do on SmackDown. And I thought it was good that Bobby finally said what I've been saying for the longest. Like, man, give him his match with Roman, man. What's going on, man? This guy's been on SmackDown for about a year. Give him
I
his
don't get
match.
it. Yeah, like you got an instant contender right here. Why haven't you guys built to this match? What the hell's
You
going
got
on?
instant story. He beat him at Royal Rumble.
Yeah. What the?
Well, sorry, he didn't beat him at Royal Rumble. He beat Brock at Royal Rumble,
Mhm.
and Roman interfered in that match. But you've got plenty of history with him and Roman. I don't understand why they haven't done it yet.
That's one of those. They're just like keeping them apart. I hate that shit. It's like, well, if we just never put Lashley next to Roman, maybe no one will ever think about it. It's like, no, we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Bragov says, I'm loving Nick Aldis being the authority with the spine. Jimmy Uso continues to be the most unserious wrestler in the world. Mania match predictions.
Yeah, I love that Nick Aldis has fallen into the category of being like, yeah, I'm not that guy. I'm not gonna let you guys get away with it.
I'm not Adam Pearce.
I'm not gonna let you do that over here. Enough.
Yeah.
I've loved that about his character so much, and I've definitely loved that Raw and SmackDown have distinctly different authority figures. I think that's helped both shows. Yeah, really like Nick Aldis as GM so far.
Same. I think that was a great hire. Like, I mean, I had an idea that it was going to be good when they hired him, but no, I think it's been even better than expected. They've had so many of the opposite characters as authority figures for a long time that this feels refreshing. Like, it's like, oh, finally, an authority figure that's not awful.
Yeah, no, he's been great. I think he added so much to SmackDown last night. Jimmy Uso is definitely really, really funny. I think initially when he came back and they did the turn and he was coming back and he was doing the stuff with Roman, I was like, I just don't really get the point of this. But Jimmy has managed to sell people on it because he's just that funny. And that was another revisionist history thing where people are like, Jay has always been better than him. I'm like, guys, I remember when people thought Jimmy was the best member of the Usos, man. He used to start all the promos. He seemed like the most charismatic
I
one.
mean, you see it. He's still super charismatic at this moment, you know?
Yeah, so I didn't understand why people thought that, but yeah, I think he's been very, very funny in this role. I think he's been very funny in the stuff that he gets to do backstage. I can't say that I'm any more excited in this one-on-one match that they're getting us towards, but I'm glad that both of these guys are getting to live out their dream.
Yeah, I'm happy that you guys are getting to have this brother versus brother thing, but I'm still not. I'd rather see them as a tag team still at this point.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
I want to see them as a tag team again, but I also I think they got to put some stakes on this as well, man. Like, I don't understand why Jay hasn't like challenged for the Intercontinental Championship. Why you haven't done anything with him? Would you just put him on Raw? Like, give him like some of his own storylines away from them. Don't just like go, oh well, he's popular. He is popular, so do something with him.
It's like, no, they're just he does the thing that people like him.
It's just me, use.
We need a little bit more, big dog. And then DNC Digital says, hope all is well. The Rain matches booking terrible, but he looked great as a champion. Great music, the suits. In my opinion, he looked the part.
Oh, yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about Jinder. Yeah, no, Jinder definitely made a glow up as champion, and I appreciated that part of it. But the reign itself, like you said, execution wise,
yeah, just like the look, he looked like a world champion, presented as a world champion, but like everything else, no good.
Did we answer the second half of his question?
Oh, we did, and I was thinking that too. The Mania match prediction. We're gonna go back to Rob.
Mania match predictions. I still think it's Punk versus Rollins. I still think we're getting like the ones that seemed like were reported early on. Rhea versus Becky.
Oh yeah, because we got a little bit of news also that we haven't got into. That your boy Roman ain't even getting on an airplane to go over to Australia. I don't even know why people have been talking about it.
I don't know.
Who's surprised here? I'm not.
I don't know why people bought into this report about them doing that match in Australia. I didn't really get that one. I
never believed it at all.
Why you would think this company would pursue this match for almost 3 years at this point, and then you possibly got it on the table, and you go, well, let's just do it in Australia. No, I don't think.
They said it's going to be on at like 4 or 5 a.m. in America. Like, you guys. You think they're going to have Roman and The Rock on at 7 a.m. over in America? No.
No, this is a WrestleMania match. I feel like that's going to, if this match is happening, I feel like it's happening at WrestleMania.
If this match is happening, it'd be dumb as hell to not put it on WrestleMania 40 again, you guys. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, hey, could possibly be wrong. Maybe it'll end up in Australia, but I just don't buy it at all. From a business standpoint, that just doesn't make sense.
If he wasn't already factored in the plans, if they haven't been advertising him already, they're not going to change plans because Twitter thinks that Cody should get the, you know what I mean? Like, oh, Twitter thinks Cody should get the shot. Let's change it. Send Roman to Australia. Let's do the Rock match. No.
No. And of course, Twitter being Twitter, I saw people going, all right, well, Roman just tweeted out the ticket announcement for Elimination Chamber. So look, and I'm like, that's not the same as him being promoted for the show. If you look at all of the promotional material for Elimination Chamber, he's not on it. And that's been the case from the beginning. I don't know why people. I don't know why people bought into this idea. That, and Roman could very much end up on that card. That could change.
He could,
but I don't know if I buy that. That's where you're going to do the Rock match.
The worst idea I've heard this week, though, and the funniest is wrestle The Rock on night 1 and then wrestle Cody on night 2. I'm like, this guy wrestled 10 times the whole last year. You think he's about to go back to back? Yeah, I'm saying not gonna work for me. No. Oh, I'm gonna wrestle twice. Yeah, okay.
Not gonna work for me, brother. That guy is wrestling on night 2. He is a night 2 main event guy. He's
main event. That clear. There's one match, dude. That's it.
No, he will be on night 2, probably wrestling either Cody or Rock, and I feel like it's going to be either or. People that are also saying it should be the triple threat.
Also a dumb idea.
I think it's either going to be the Rock match or it's going to be the Cody match.
If you got The Rock, that's the match that's happening. But honestly, we talked about it. They might not have The Rock. Well, this also could be some. He could have just came and teased when he did the. Should I sit at the head of the table? It could be happening later this year. Like, we don't really know anything at this point.
This could be all just a red herring.
Yeah. And
I think the big sign that it could be a red herring is the Cody interview he did this week with Justin. From Sports Illustrated, where he's talking about how all of these obstacles, I'm ready for it. And when you look at it from a story point of him losing last year and then coming this year, and now you've got Punk in your way at Royal Rumble, you've got
The Rock,
The Rock possibly in a way. You've got I keep saying Jinder. You've got Jinder on the brain. You got Shinsuke Nakamura also in a way. You've got all of these obstacles now. You've got like this rogues gallery of guys that are trying to stop you from finishing the story. And I think that in itself has worked. I think that even having Brock a part of that as well worked. But I I don't know. I have to see it to believe it at this point that the Rockets match is going to happen, because we've been we've been speculating about it for so long, and every year we do the same thing and it doesn't happen. So if it happens, hey, I totally understand it from a business point of view. I do think you should just go with the Cody match at this point. I do think that Cody should win the title, but I also wouldn't be surprised with the way that they do things if they go with Rock versus Roman and Roman retains and holds that belt to SummerSlam.
Yep, Roman's gonna beat that Hulk Hogan record. A couple of things that to bring into mind. Again, WrestleMania 40. It's in Philadelphia. The Rock's first WrestleMania main event, WrestleMania 15. Where was it? Philadelphia. Listen, there's all these connections here. The reason that I think The Rock, they wouldn't have did that tease. They wouldn't have did that tease without there being something behind it. The Rock, they wouldn't have had him set head on the table without there being something behind it. And it's the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania. What's the biggest fucking match, dude? The Rock. How much money do you need, dude? What can we do to get you over here? Please help us, Dwayne.
World star before rap. You ain't even know that.
Yeah, but like we said, things could change. They could send Roman to wrestle to Australia, but that's also the other dumb idea. Oh, send him to Australia and do the Cody match, and then he loses there. I'm like, are you listening to yourself? Do you guys like money?
That's another thing. I don't think you're gonna use Roman's first loss on a show that's like 4 a.m, whatever. If you're gonna do his first loss, you're gonna do it on the biggest stage possible. If it's not a SummerSlam or like one of your big main pay-per-views, it's gonna be a WrestleMania, man. I don't see it happening in Australia.
I can't. Like I know the people on the other side of the world are like, you Americans are blah blah blah. This is an American wrestling company. They're gonna cater to us by showing us a primetime WrestleMania match and not Roman Reigns at 6 a.m. The brother wasn't even going. That's the funniest part. It's like, no, you're not even booked.
Not even booked so far. And I mean, they might not even have the actual official plan for that show, and that's why I'm saying this could always change. But I don't think. I don't see it. Don't see it. But we shall see. We shall see.
We got a couple more super chats. Will Chisholm says, poor Bailey, she just don't know that she's getting jumped out, but I still think she's winning the Rumble.
The closer and closer we get to the Rumble, we got the big news that she re-signed as well. And just like a lot of language in her announcement about re-signing definitely leads me to believe that she could win the Rumble. She talked about, there's stuff she still wanted to do. There's one last thing she hasn't done. And it really feels like she's going to win the Rumble. I think the favorites have to be her and Becky at this point. But I laughed very hard when she tried to throw Bianca out the ring last night, and then she tried to distract the ref, like, "Oh, my knee! Look at my knee!" And the entirety of Damage Control was just standing there right in front of Bianca, just looking at her like, "I ain't touching her." Y'all are so wrong. I'm just gonna leave her high and dry.
She tried to do the old distraction method, and it did not work.
Very, very funny. And then she got backstage and was like, "What happened to you guys? Why'd you just leave me hanging?" They were like, "Oh, we thought you wanted to beat her by yourself," and they were all just being very coy about it. All of it was very, very funny. I think the Damage Control stuff has been really good since Survivor Series. It's been one of the best things that they're doing on SmackDown. Constantly entertaining.
Yeah, I would not be mad 1%. I actually will be very happy if Bayley does pick out the win. Well deserved. One of the unsung heroes of the Women's Revolution has been the bat for WWE women's wrestling and everything for so long, like well deserved. And beyond that, I think also since Survivor Series, she has been playing a really great role of, I know the writing's kind of on the wall, but also like these are still the homies. I'm still trying to get shit going. Like I really like what she's doing. So if she got the win, I'd be all in.
I also very much like the idea that this is kind of like, of course, all of these people are ready to throw you out of this group because this is like your Legion of Doom. This is like your rogue gallery. How long did Dakota have to deal with people comparing her to Bayley for the longest time, and her, having to stand out on her own and show people like I'm not just like some generic Bayley clone. And then, of course, Bayley lost the NXT Women's Championship to Asuka, was never able to beat Asuka And then you've got Kyrie. She beat Kyrie up, and that was the last we saw of her before she left WWE. All of them in some way have some like small beef with her, and so I think the story they're building here makes a lot of sense. I don't really buy into people going, oh well, none of them are her friend. That's setting up for a real friend to come back. Maybe I wouldn't buy into that just yet. I think that she is, of course, playing it up to tease people because she learned from the best, because her friend is a worker. And I think Bailey's a worker, too. Now, wouldn't be mad if this leads to Bailey and Sasha going up against Damage Control. But I really don't think this is the story there here. I think this is leading to her possibly challenging EO for the title at WrestleMania.
That's a good story to tell. Will Chisholm also says, big ups to the GOAT R-Truth for having the top selling shirt with the Judgment Day.
That segment this week on Raw was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Honestly.
R-Truth. I don't know how this guy manages to do it every time, but this guy is really, really funny, man.
It's been so long, Phil. Like, he debuted, I think, in 2000 in WWE, maybe 99 even. And it's been such a roller coaster of a career. Like, he's been in top spots, he's been in bottom spots, he's been around the world, but to still be so entertaining, maybe even more entertaining at this point, is a sight to see, man. That promo this week was so funny. He's so natural. He's so witty. He's so entertaining, like a legendary figure. And it seems like he's going to get even funnier, getting even better as he gets older. It's crazy.
Yeah. Shout out to R-Truth, man.
Such a good guy. If we get a WWE interview, R-Truth one would be amazing. Yeah. Shucky Ducky Quack Quack says, don't hinder Jinder in Kinder or on Tinder.
Jinder's Tinder profile sounds really, really
Jinder's
funny.
Tinder profile.
That sounds really, really funny.
That's all of our super chats for now. Again, appreciate everybody. Y'all are dope.
Check, see if we have Humper chats. Of course, you can send us your Humper chats at humperchat.com/fightful.
Humpies.
Okay. I think we got one from Nelson Muntz. He says, big congratulations to Queen Amanada for getting signed and winning the 4-way in ROH. There's no way she's wrestling Sheeta twice on AEW TV and not being signed already. Yeah, again, really happy to see her getting her flowers at the moment, and I think she's been overdue for a contract. She's one of those wrestlers I've been saying for years should be on TV, all the way back to when she was in that tag team match on SmackDown with Kabuki Warriors. I'm like, she just has something, man. Somebody's got to sign her. From Tony P, he says, to add on to your Seth getting cast in on Raw theory, an even crazier idea, which you know they would do, use it as a vehicle to make Punk champ going into WrestleMania against Seth. You know they would. I actually don't think that. I don't think that this is leading to Punk being champion. And I don't think he wants to be champion. I could be off, but I don't think he wants to be champion. I think if you're going to give him the win, I could see them possibly doing it at WrestleMania, but I don't even see it happening then. I don't think he's going to win. And it's not just that I don't think he wants to be champion. That just doesn't fit into the way WWE does things. They're not going to bring this guy back that has trashed this company for 10 years and bring him straight back and make him champion. They didn't even do that for Cody. You think they're going to do that for Punk? No.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, especially in storyline wise. Like, I see them wrestling on night one of WrestleMania, but yeah, I see Seth beating him. I can't see Punk doing all that, even in kayfabe storyline first. I can't see him doing all that and coming back and just getting this. He gets the WrestleMania match and he wins the belt. That would be crazy.
Getting the main event and winning. I think it's either or. I think he's probably going to get the main event, but I think he's going to lose. And to be honest with you, I think Rollins needs to win. I don't think he should lose. I think
that's the most important thing about it is Rollins needs to beat him.
Yeah, I don't, and I'm not saying that he needs a win because the guy has gone on a streak, an undefeated streak, starting last year. But I mean, in terms of what their story and what their feud means, I don't think it makes sense for Punk to come back and beat him.
No, it doesn't. And like, I just want to have a shout out to Tony P, a petty moment of the week of like, you talked all that shit and we let our homie beat your ass. Like, that's what I would do, but that's just me.
Of course, and that's why I feel like WWE's not going to just give him a championship win.
No.
They've set up Rollins as being their guy, and like I just don't see him beating him in his first WrestleMania.
Now,
especially also when you tie it to that's how Cody came to the company. He beat Cody. I mean, Cody beat him 3 times. I don't think that's gonna happen for Punk, bro.
now
I don't see
it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world if Punk walks out of WrestleMania as the World Heavyweight Champion. It would complete his story, but I just don't think that that's going to happen.
If he wins, I think he's getting cashed in on. I don't think he's gonna keep it up. But I also just don't think he's gonna win. I could be wrong, but I just think just looking at all of this, I just don't see it, man. But I'm very excited to see where this goes. I do think he's gonna win the Rumble. That is my prediction.
Is he?
Listen,
I guess that makes the most sense.
If we're sitting in Tampa in 2 weeks and the night ends with CM Punk pointing at the sign, I feel like my brain is going to explode because nothing in that sentence makes sense.
It doesn't. CM Punk's pointing at the sign, and you're like, what sign? The WrestleMania sign? Because he just won the Royal Rumble? No, you're lying. You told me this 5 years ago, I'd be like, shut up, dude. Don't even talk about this.
But I mean, I guess my thing is with the Rumble, if it's not Punk, who is it? I made the strongest case for Gunther for months, but I think right now,
that doesn't tell a story that I'm thinking they're going to tell at WrestleMania, you know?
I think the bigger story is Punk and Rollins, and they've been setting up seeds for Punk versus Rollins since he got back. I don't unless Rollins is not champion at WrestleMania, I don't know how you get to that match if he doesn't win the Rumble.
So if we don't get to The Rock and Roman, how do you get Cody back to the main event of WrestleMania?
I don't know.
That's why I'm like, okay, say we do Cody. Well, how do we get there? He wins the Elimination Chamber number one contendership? Yeah, I guess.
Maybe Elimination Chamber is going to be a one-on-one match or a number one contender match, but I don't think Cody's winning the Rumble. I'd be really surprised if he wins the Rumble 2 years in a row. That's rarefied air. There's only 4 people that have done that. And
I mean, the story he's telling, though, it would make a lot of sense for his story for him to win 2 years in a row. But I just can't see him doing it.
It would, but I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm buying it.
Good luck. That's why I'm like, if he finishes it, like I can see him finishing the story at SummerSlam because they can, or after, because you can get to it some way. But like, I don't think he's gonna win the Rumble, and the Elimination Chamber thing could work, but I don't know if that's the best way to get to that match.
Again, I'm telling you, none of these sentences make sense. But Royal Rumble ending with Punk and Cody being the final 2. And Punk throwing Cody out of that ring and proceeding to point at the sign while Cody sits on the ramp like Cena did after he lost at WrestleMania to The Rock. That doesn't make sense.
What if The Rock wins?
Please don't. Please don't.
What if The Rock wins? He has to get his title match against Roman. So Roman comes out next week or the week after, and he's like, you guys keep talking about The Rock, but why does he deserve a title match? What the fuck has he ever done to deserve a title match? He hasn't wrestled in blah, blah, blah. Roman's like, I don't care about that. I'm Roman. Only way he's going to beat me is if he wins the Royal Rumble.
He's The Rock. He doesn't need to win the Rumble to get a title shot.
And Roman in storyline, he's the god. It doesn't matter. He's like, I don't care about none of that. He has, in order to face me, you got to have something.
You just let LA Knight wrestle you for less.
The Rock's winning this, Phil. Get over it.
And yeah, I would hate that. I really don't want The Rock to win.
That'd be so nasty.
No.
What about we're off the wall pick? None of these people. What if they do that? Because I'm still under the impression, like, what if we get a surprise pick, man?
I think Punk coming back and winning his first Rumble in 10 years is a pretty goddamn big surprise.
Okay.
Nothing about that seems like no anybody would have predicted that 5 months ago.
Right. 2 months ago at this point. Shit. Yeah, I mean, that one makes the most headlines.
Yeah. But again, I feel like that's the best way to get him the main event, but also be able to hand him a loss at WrestleMania.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll just demand a match. But
We'll see.
but it also makes me think the other reason I think he's won the Rumble is because they made a point to have he's not wrestled at all on television.
He hasn't.
And so he has done nothing to kind of lead to that match other than the promos.
Mm-hmm. There has to be something to get us there.
Yeah, and that's why
I think the
it's
Royal Rumble's to win. Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, and speaking of which, had a very good segment with Drew McIntyre. I got to give Drew his credit, man. Drew has been really, really good since he's come back.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of the story stuff he's doing really good. His promos have been fire. The matches have been really good. If I'm them, man, you got to try and lock this guy up, man. This guy for the from the end of 2023 into this year, he's been fantastic.
Yeah, they got to send that guy some money, send him a bag because he is. I think he's showing them like, oh, you guys better you better see what's going on here. I'm one of those guys you don't want to let go. I'm out here cooking. I'm out here doing everything you guys want me to do, even better than you expect me to do. Yeah, he's one of those like, yo, y'all better get on it because he will be out of here and he will be a very hot free agent.
Yeah, I mean, coming back, having the good matches, holding his own in a promo segment with Punk. I thought he made a bunch of very valid points in his promo.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought Punk's comeback was really good. Again, have to give them their credit because we were all scratching our heads after that first Punk promo. Like, oh man, do we really want this?
Yeah.
He's been kind of cooking ever since then.
I mean,
all
it's
the promos.
Punk. Yeah.
But I said that after the first promo, he just needs motivation. He needs somebody to stand across that ring and speak to. If you're just having him just come out there and say that I'm happy to be here stuff, that's not nearly as interesting as what we know Punk can do.
Right. James Zimmerman brings up a point that I thought about when we're talking about the Royal Rumble. Lex and Brett ending for Cody and Punk. They go out at the same time.
Maybe it's hard to do that though. We saw how that.
It's a hard spot to do for sure.
Yeah, it's very, very.
And I don't know if Cody and Punk are the ones to. They're not the super most coordinated wrestlers in the world. I don't know.
Punk is definitely not the most coordinated guy, so I don't know if you want to try and do that one.
But it could work though.
It could, but
they haven't done it since Cena and Batista when Vince broke all his shit trying to get in the ring.
Yeah. I will say though, like with all of this around, like what could be the main event of both nights, I do think that it's not predictable. And I think that that's a great thing.
Yes,
this is the most I've been excited for the men's Rumble in a while.
Mm-hmm. Same here. I think it's pretty open because like Gunther's still in the running, like he still could come out and bring out a victory. So,
yeah, I'm saying that Punk is my prediction, but. You know, something else could happen here. Maybe Drew's going to win this Rumble.
Maybe Drew. Yeah, Drew does have a dog in the fight, too. Bobby Lashley, we talked about, like, you know what I mean? Like, they could pull some kind of swerves. I think it's a good position to exist in. And that's what earlier, when we were talking about surprise entrances, I'm like, I don't know how many you really need because the men got a really good story they can tell over there with a bunch of different wrestlers.
Yeah. We had one more Humper Chat. We moved on. Or did I get it? Oh no, I read it already. It's the Tony P one where it's he was saying to add to the Rollins theory that he could lose. Yeah. Curious to see what happens with Royal Rumble. I am excited for it. I think it's going to be a good Rumble, hopefully. I still was very much frustrated that the first Rumble I ever went to was the Rumble where Brock won, and it was an awful Rumble. It was an awful night all around. It was one of the best. It was one of the worst pay-per-views of that year, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like,
that's the one where Edge came back, though, wasn't it?
No,
was
that was the year Ronda made her return.
That sucked.
That was when she won the Rumble. That was the year where they opened with Rollins versus Roman. They gave us the DQ finish.
Awful.
And then we had Brock versus Bobby as well, and Roman came out and interfered, and that's how
Oh God.
Bobby won the championship back. It was not a good pay-per-view. We had Beth and Edge versus Miz and Maurice on their card as well. Not a good pay-per-view. Not a good pay-per-view. The sign kept catching on fire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not a good pay-per-view.
Bad juju surrounding that one for sure.
So I'm hoping my second time going to Rumble will be a better show.
Florida. Where was the first? Where was that one at? St. Louis? Was that St. Louis?
St. Louis. That was the same weekend we interviewed Jay Cargill.
Wow, what a time! That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Wasn't last year, right? 2 years ago.
No, that was 2022.
Wow.
Doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
Time.
Yeah, we've got probably one more topic, then we're gonna slide out of here. Gonna hit you with another word from our sponsors before we hit that one.
BetOnline.ag is the official betting partner of Fightful. 100% of the time when you get the odds from Fightful, they are coming from BetOnline.ag. And it's not just wrestling, it's not just MMA and boxing. It's football, it's basketball, baseball, hockey. They have the earliest lines. You can bet big with the high limits and rebet functionality. They have the fastest payouts with winnings paid in minutes and the industry's best bonuses on every qualifying deposit. They've been trusted for 25 plus years. It's not some fly-by-night company. BetOnline AG has been there. They've done that. In addition, they're trusted by millions. They've got VIP rewards programs and a ton of popular games. BetOnline.ag, that's where I go to make my bets. That's where I suggest you go to, my friends. Please just bet what you can and bet responsibly.
Autistic Weirdo says, Phil, chances are Rumble will be bad as well because WWE cares more about headlines than a good product. That's very much true, but I refuse to believe that this Rumble could possibly be as bad as that Rumble. I don't know if you guys remember how bad that Rumble was. That was the year that that was the year Shane came back. Remember? Remember Shane? Didn't Shane eliminate AJ Styles in that?
Yeah.
And then he had the back and forth with KO, and that was a bad Rumble, bro.
I remember the collective groan when Ronda came out, and people were like, "Oh, this is not going to be good," and then it wasn't good.
Yeah. I believe that was Sasha's last Rumble as well. She had
yeah,
Sailor Moon gear on.
That was a highlight, though. That was great.
Yeah, it was a highlight. She definitely flipped the internet on his head that night when she had to split on people.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't
gagged us, as they say.
That Rumble was not good, buddy. Not a good Rumble.
They could have kept it.
Definitely could have kept that. AEW made its return to Jacksonville for AEW Homecoming this week. I thought both shows were good. I thought Dynamite was good, as we said earlier. Rampage was very good, probably the best AEW show of the week for me. But there was a lot of talking points out of Homecoming. I am definitely one of those people coming out of the Continental Classic that was concerned about, all right, what does AEW programming look like without the Continental Classic? And so far, so good. The first two episodes of the year have been solid. I think that they've done good things with Joe as champion. They seem to be keeping the course with Swerve coming out of last year with the momentum that he has. I like that Hangman is still a big fixture on the show as well. I feel like the segment with those three was the best thing on the show. Continues to, but that's not a surprise because the Hangman and Swerve stuff last year was some of the best stuff that they've done. So it's continued to be consistent this year.
Yeah, I was really coming out of that show. That probably was my favorite thing too. Like, there's been a couple of these weeks where the segments with these guys have been the best thing in the show. The backstage segments with Max and Hangman that Joe interrupted, or the backstage segment with Max and Swerve that Joe interrupted. Like, bringing that out to the forefront, I think it's great. Bringing everybody out individually, everybody get a pop and everything. Super great stuff. Having everybody leave and then the bat signal with Hook and then Hook coming out.
And Hook.
Yeah, I thought it all was really great work. I like seeing Samoa Joe with the suit. His confidence is on 20 billion at this point. Him instigating on the side, being like, Nana, get your boy. Nana, get your boy. Like, a great role was being played here. Swerve, confidence is on 1,000 also. He's really serious about taking that damn belt from Samoa Joe. You can like feel it in his talking points. Hangman also got a great I think starting out the show with him and Claudio to establish that
Yeah, really good match.
Hangman's a bad motherfucker still. Don't forget, here's a win, blah, blah, blah. I thought that all of that was really good stuff going into this promo that I thought helped out everybody in the thing.
Yeah, I really like that Joe has come in and he's been a distinctly different champion than Max in a lot of ways because I think we needed that. Glad to see the black strap back. We got the new design, which it looks like they clawed an audible because the other design leaked and fans were very much not happy with it. So it looks like they kept like kind of like a hybrid of the designs where they kept like the original logo on the main plate and then they added the side plates onto the side. Still looks clean. Still one of the best belts in wrestling.
Yeah.
And that belt looks really, really good on Samoa Joe, man. That guy was out there looking clean. He had the suit on. He was talking that talk. Was like, man, y'all keep y'all comments to yourself. Keep that whole ass shit over there.
Yeah. All real conversation from Samoa Joe. I love it.
Yeah, loved it. Loved that segment. Like you said, loved the opening match with Claudio and Hangman. I thought the women's eight woman match was really good as well. I thought that was a good way to get the women on the card. Of course, I think the women's match on Rampage was much better.
Yeah, that's fire.
But I thought everybody came out of the 8-woman match looking good. I continue to be impressed at how over Julia Hart is. I think the presentation with her is really good. Her entrance was one of the ones that really popped with the new setup with like the big screen on the main side. I thought the setup in Daly's Place was really cool. I thought it looked unique. It looked a lot different than anything we see at any other wrestling shows. But I feel like that's been the case with Daly's Place since they started there, where it's just such a different setup. It's such a different location for wrestling. And I think that they've maximized that with the new setup.
Yeah, I think that that's needed more in wrestling. Like that's what I thought coming into AEW, I thought we're going to get more venues that are kind of like on the present a different thing. Because when you turn on the TV, it's like as a wrestling fan, I'm so used to turning on a wrestling program and seeing WWE, seeing the big arena, seeing all the lights, seeing all blah, blah, blah. So if I turn on and think and it's a different company and you're presenting kind of the same thing, I'm going to be comparing it to that off rip. If you're a wrestling fan, a casual wrestling fan, and all you know is WWE, and you click on AEW and they're in the same arena, they have the same, you're going to be judged on a different thing. I think if they continuously, I kind of want to see more of that in 2024. Book some different venues, book a smaller venue. Like you don't have to do all basketball stadiums, book a 6,000 seat venue, book a 7,000, these ones with different looks. That's why if I'm passing by on TV and you're presenting something different than the other guys are, I might be more likely to stay. But I thought that this was the look and the atmosphere, I thought just helped this program out even more. Like Dynamite was good, but the crowd made it great, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Daly's Place is special for AEW.
Daly's Place.
They spent so much time there during the pandemic. It's the home base for the company, so that crowd's always gonna bring it for those shows. And I figured this was gonna be a good show because of what Daly's Place meant. I was one of those people where they were saying, "Hey, why would you bring Mercedes here and debut her here?" And I'm like, yeah, but it's not like Daly's Place is just any venue for AEW. Like this is a special place for them. That's the place where Brody debuted. That's the place where a lot of other people debuted. So I wouldn't have been mad if she debuted here.
Right.
Of course, we didn't get that, but I wouldn't have been mad at it. We got so many other talking points for tonight. Of course, we got the biggest talking point is the return of the Young Bucks and the soft announcement that they're going to be Darby and Sting's opponents coming up at Revolution. They will basically be Sting's final wrestling match, which of course set the internet ablaze because people are like, why would they do this? Why is Tony forcing them to do this? I did not understand that talking point at all. I didn't understand why people jumped to that conclusion, especially with the way that Tony talks about Sting and how much he has talked about wanting him to go out on his own terms and how much he appreciates Sting's time.
Like I respect this guy, but no, I'm forcing him to do the match I want to do for his last match.
I just don't see that. And Sting has told us from the longest. He told us in the Ringer article that he had a plan for how he wanted to end his career. He had an idea for who he wanted to be his last opponent. And he also told us it wasn't going to be a singles match. And so once you tell us that, that narrows down who it can be. And once you say it's going to be a tag match, all right, there's only a few tag teams in the company.
There's like 3 tag teams we can talk about at this point.
Yeah, that are like synonymous with what AEW means, and it would be an important moment for him to go out wrestling them. And it makes a lot of sense for it to be the Bucks. The company would not exist without the Bucks.
Come on.
And so I can very much see Sting feeling like, all right, this is a company that gave me my last run in wrestling, and I really appreciate that. And who else would I be willing to have that match with and have a big moment with? If it's not going to be Kenny Omega, because I'm not having a singles match, it makes a lot of sense for it to be the Bucks.
People being weird about this are so funny. Like, why would Sting's not going to do nothing he doesn't want it. He could today be like, I'm done wrestling here, and there's nothing that Tony could do about it. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to, that's not how this all works. Historically, like I said online, when a wrestler's going to retire, they pick their own match, and they usually are going to lose in that match. And then hella people are like, well, what about Kurt Angle? I don't know what the hell happened with Kurt Angle. I don't know why they let him why he let them put him in a match with Baron Corbin, but that's a different
But he's spoken about that a few times on his podcast of that's not how he wanted his retirement to go.
Exactly.
So I think that's a different. That's a completely
He's basically
different situation.
saying, this is not what I want. If I would have had my choice, which historically is a thing, I would have wrestled like this. So again, here it's like, you guys think they would put Sting out with something he don't want to do in his last fucking match with all that he's done for the company? That doesn't make sense. It's the Young Bucks. I know people have this way. Some people think this way about the Young Bucks. Some people hate them. But industry-wide, they are considered the greatest tag team of all time, greatest tag team of today. That's how people feel. And Sting feels that way. He feels like they are who they are for a reason, and he's having this last match against them because what other tag team would he have against in AEW? It's AEW, it's the Young Bucks, it's Revolution when they have had some of the best matches of all time of the AEW at Revolution. It just makes so much sense. Think about back to that match that they had at Forbidden Door. Sting looked like he was having so much fun in there with the Young Bucks and that 6-man. Like, this makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, also when you tie it to his time with Darby and the company, how they're still undefeated as a tag team, and if you're closing his time with AEW, you kind of have to put a bow on their run as a tag team. And I feel like to put a bow on it, you either have to chase some tag team gold, which I very much am in the camp of. I think they're going to win the belt eventually. But also, the biggest tag team to wrestle at this point in the company is the Young Bucks. They've already had the FTR match. Who else on that level is there for them to wrestle? Lucha Bros? I don't think that feels as important. It would probably be a good match.
Yeah.
But I think it's nowhere near as important. It's nowhere near as monumental as wrestling the Young Bucks.
Well, everybody this week was like, I mean, the opposing tag team was FTR is what people think that it should have been.
I don't really get that. I don't really get that. Like, again, they had the FTR match. And then on top of that, I don't feel like where FTR are right now with their run with AEW, it just doesn't feel, it isn't the same. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the FTR talk, I'm like, no, well, just because FTR is a great tag team, yeah, but they already had the match. It's fun. Like, the Young Buck thing makes a lot more sense for your final match in AEW, final match of all time, Young Bucks. It just like makes more sense to me as this situation goes. I understand why people want FTR just because, I mean, they're great. They could do a Southern style tag match. It'll be a good note to leave off on, but the Young Bucks match just makes more sense.
No, I don't even agree that it'll be a good match to leave off on. I think the Bucks match makes more sense. It just does. Because I mean, again, these guys are undefeated as a tag team.
Right.
Going into his last match as a tag team, and he's already said on TV that he feels like Darby is his best tag team partner. There's only a handful of guys. At one point, I thought maybe it was going to be the Copeland and Christian match. But nah, Bucks makes more sense.
Yeah.
We also got, because the Bucks returned, they have not been on TV since they effectively turned heel. They came back with the new look. They came back with the stash and the white and black suits. I dug it. I thought it was a
I
good way
liked
to
it.
end the show.
Mhm.
I thought it felt like a major moment for Daly's place. I liked it. I'm curious to see where this goes. We got those reports early in the year that they were going to do this Buck Camp thing, and Cutler tweeted afterwards his thing from the Young Bucks camp. I don't know how much I'm going to be into them continuing
Mm,
to do this Bucks camp thing moving forward. I'm willing to see what they do with it, but it kind of seems inherently silly. Um, and I don't know if it's the best idea to, be doing these tongue-in-cheek references to Brawl Out and the Punk stuff, especially with Punk being back on TV. But again, I'll see how it plays out.
yeah, there's some elements of this that I think could work, but if we're leaning in on the we use our authority to get people fired type thing, essentially, I don't think it's going to work. I think there's things that they could do, like we're EVPs, we blah, blah, blah. We kind of like use our authority to do things, but there shouldn't be any kind of connecting ties to that shit that happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I also feel like doing that is why the Bucks match with Sting and Darby makes even more sense because
Exactly.
if you are telling me again, if after the Joe segment that we're probably bringing back the records and the rankings, um, it makes the most sense for Darby and Sting to get the title match because they're undefeated.
Hmm.
Um, there's no reason to give the Bucks the title match right now unless
Nope.
they use their power to demand a title match.
Hmm.
And so again, all of the story stuff that they're building around it, out of that, I think makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and
Again,
that's where I'm landing too. I think going into that show, one of these two teams is going to be AEW World Tag Team Champion. So,
yeah, especially now that they're gonna have to pivot out of the Jericho stuff because 2 weeks ago I was begrudgingly sitting here like, all right, Jericho and Omega or Jericho and Sammy will be tag team champions. But now that I feel like they're gonna have to pivot, I think it makes perfect sense because they're undefeated for Sting and Darby to win the titles.
mhm. And I can see that happening very soon, man, because like Revolution's coming up. And I think that you want to establish a little bit of that run with Sting. Because I kind of had the idea maybe the Young Bucks are the champions into going into Revolution, and then Sting and Darby defeat them, and then Sting retires as the tag champs and they start over. But I think give them the championships, give them a few title runs before Sting's over, and then that's kind of the legacy he leaves. It's like he only won one championship, just a tag team championship. Him and Darby had a few runs, and then that was it.
Yeah. Um, I'm here for all of it. I think that they
Yeah.
did a good job of kind of building it up. I like the execution of it. Um, and I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a fun program. I think if nothing else, it's going to be a good match because it's the Bucks and
Mm-hmm.
that's their domain, tag team wrestling. And again,
Mm-hmm.
if their manifesto coming into this year, or not even this year, coming into founding this company was making tag team wrestling a main event, making tag team wrestling one of the biggest parts of the show. Um, the biggest thing coming out of Revolution is Sting's retirement, and so
Yep.
I think it makes a lot of sense for those guys to look at that and go, "All right, he's in a tag team. Yeah, tag team wrestling should be the focus coming out of this."
Mm-hmm. I mean, it needs to be in general. Like I like what they're doing recently. The Young Bucks coming back, I think, helps a lot, especially with after like that promo that when Mark Quinn came back and Isaiah Cassidy, what Private Party did and said about the tag team division. And then this is what kind of how you're going to start the year with the Sting and Young Bucks talk. I think it's a good indicator for what the rest of the year is going to look like. Very important. Finishing Revolution, I think, with the big tag match and Sting thing is going to help it out also. Shea Monster says along those lines, Young Bucks doing the HBK Flair, I'm sorry, I love you. Double super kick on Sting, only to have him no sell it, please.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be dope. All right, there's so many good things that they can do with this. Yeah, I really didn't get why people were upset, but I also had to remember people just don't like the Young Bucks.
That's it.
And so the second they came back, it was going to be divisive, and we're in such an interesting time period with the Bucks where a lot of people that were either WWE fans or they weren't New Japan fans, weren't AEW fans, they didn't understand the appeal of the Bucks, so they already didn't like them. But now you have more AEW fans than ever before that don't like them, and so it's
Right.
just such an interesting territory for them to be in.
Yeah.
This is the most negative I've seen conversation around the Bucks like ever. Um, but I think that that's where they thrive, and I'm glad that they're going back to being heels because I say all the time I think they are just better as heels, and not really sold on this idea of Bucks camp thing, but I am very much sold on them being heels again.
Yeah, you saying this, I think that's the most fitting thing is this is how they came up. Like coming into the New Japan stuff, there was a lot of people that didn't like them. They don't like their matches. They're never like their match styles. And the way that the Young Bucks have always came up and came out on top is against adversity. Like they had the TNA thing back in the day where they tried to hold them down. They were a tag team on the indie scene and kind of in the world where it was just like people didn't believe in them. They're calling them fake rockers. They hate the super kicks and all this. But through that is where they rose through with the Phoenix and they came through and became champions. It became the talking point of pro wrestling, and AEW was created. I think it's kind of to that situation again. They have the stuff with Punk. They've been gone. There's backstage stuff kind of marring surrounding their situations. And they just need to come and show you guys, well, we're the baddest fucking tag team in the world. And it doesn't matter what any of that does. We take what you guys say, we take your criticism and turn it into gold. And I think that's what's going to happen again.
Yeah, just get back to
Fucking Young Bucks.
Get back to having the fire matches. That's what I've been wanting for the longest. Just get back to having the fire matches.
It's not that complicated. That's why I'm like, there's wrestlers that like, regardless of the situation, they'll easily come back. Like we've been talking about Ricky Starks recently and like how we thought he was going to be in a different position. You give Ricky Starks the mic, two dynamites in a row, and he's right back to where he needs to be. The Young Bucks are exactly that same way. There's people that are going to be down on him. People are going to be in this position. Put him in a match right now on tonight on Collision or on Wednesday on Dynamite, and they're right back to where they would need to be. They'll never be on Collision for some reason.
Yeah, I don't really get that, but it is what it is. Yeah, I thought Dynamite was very strong. I thought there was a lot of things to like about it. I know some people will be down on the idea of doing a big multi-women match, but I feel like this is still the most optimistic I've been about AEW's women's division in a long time. Like the fact that you not just had all these women on TV, but you have so many stories that are going at the same time. You got the Statlander and Stokely stuff that's happening. You've got the Outcast stuff that's happening with Saraya and Ruby. I thought they gave us a very soap opera-esque development to this week, and I laughed very hard at it.
Silly.
It was very, very silly, but I think that this is what the women's division needed. Even if it's hokey or corny, just give the women stories. Give them things that is going to give the fans something to attach to. And I think the fans are attaching to it. This is more interesting than anything else the Outcasts have been doing.
Yep. Yeah, fans, we've seen it multiple times in AEW. If you give them stories, they're going to care about it. They care about Toni Storm so much more because there's so much more surrounding her character. She isn't just a great wrestler. Now, we do love just great wrestlers, but I think that's a stigma that's been put on to this fan base. They only care about matches. They don't care about stories. No, we care about matches and stories together.
Yeah. Cool Hand getting the cake in his face and then yelling off in the distance, "That's not what it looks like, Booby. That's not what it looks like." Hilarious. And then proceeding to wrestle in the main event with the cake still in his hair and his face. Yep. Very, very funny.
Dedication.
But yeah, the Julian Sky stuff is still going on. You got Deanna now, and Deanna's debuting tonight, taking on Red Velvet.
Ooh, that's gonna be fire.
I thought that segment was good. I thought I thought the setup for that was good, and I think the match is gonna be hot. There's a lot of stuff with the women that's good. Toni Storm, of course, one of the hottest characters on the show. I thought that segment was also very funny. Mariah kept asking, "Hey, did you watch my match?" No, I was very busy. Here, take this chocolate.
I watched the screener of your match, but not all of it.
Yeah, using the term screener as well. All very, very funny, man. And then at the end where she was like, "Yeah, line," and then she gives her a line, and she was like, "What, you trying to steal my lines now?" It very much felt like the episode of Simpsons where Lisa went to learn tap dancing, and she went to learn it from Little Vicky, and Little Vicky was like, "You're not gonna upstage me."
That's exactly what it was like. Give me my line. Wait, why are you saying my line? Yeah, I think
Um,
just like continuously tell more stories. And then if you watch Ring of Honor too, they're telling like 3 or 4 women's stories over there. It's like,
yeah,
okay, I think they're making an effort. There's of course there always needs to be more, but this is a good sign. We still got Mercedes lingering. We got Jamie Hayter still kind of lingering out there. Britt Baker still kind of hanging out. Like I think there's a lot moving forward that is going to be good for the women's division, and this is great. This match tonight, I'm very excited about. Deonna and Red Velvet, I think is going to bang. What a way for Deonna to establish herself on this roster.
yeah. I think Red has been really good since she's come back. So I really excited to see this. We got the Serena D vignette
Serena
as
Deeb,
well,
forgot about Deeb. Yeah,
and that's the match. Book
yeah.
the match. D versus Deanna. I want to see that match. Um, yeah, there's a lot of stuff to be excited about with the women's division right now.
They might be a team though. Every time I hear those two names together, I'm always like, they might need to be a team though.
Book the
Because who
match
could
first.
stop Deonna and Serena Deeb? If Deeb is gonna make a crew like everybody always talking about, like them two as the leaders, fire. But yeah, I do also want to see the match though.
I want the match first, and I mean, I do think it makes sense for them to team up as well. But give us the match, man.
Yeah.
Give us the match. Yeah, a lot of good stuff this week with the women. I think making a point to give Sheeta a highlight match in Daly's place makes a lot of sense based on what she means to the company. That's where she lost the belt to Britt Baker as well. So I think it makes a lot of sense to give her that moment. And then, like I said, giving all the women the moment. I know people frown on multi-women matches just because of the stigma from like the Divas era and some of the other stuff. But I thought that this was a good match. I don't know. I thought it was a good way to showcase the women. I thought it was a good way to give Anna a spot on here as well, and give her and Preston the Brody highlights as well. I thought that was good as well. Yeah, it was a lot to like about the homecoming episode. I had no real complaints about it.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, with the energy and how the crowd was reacting, and made it a great show. The big homie, of course, had the main event against Sting. I thought that was cool. Being able to interact with some wrestling legends like that, it always seems super surreal because, like, this is like my friend. Like, I talked to him before he came to the company. It was just like, it'd be cool to be on TV. And then it's like a bunch of like, it'd be cool to do this. It'd be cool to do that. When he first debuted alongside Moxley, it's like, damn, that's crazy. And now he's wrestling with Sting and being chopped not so hard by Ric Flair. It's like, yo, what a crazy position to be in.
Yeah, I thought the main event was great. That spot did look very scary. Glad the Hobbs is okay. But yeah, I thought they had some Venom spots in there, doing a swing spot with Darby where they
Oh my
walking back
God.
and forth and through him. Looked hella dangerous, but I expect nothing less from Darby because Darby does not care about his body.
Yeah, I hate that they try to do that thing that they do when AEW does a wall spot. Look at AEW, blah blah blah. But Darby Allin always does this. It's not a big fucking surprise. Like, of course he's gonna do something that's dangerous. That's what he does.
Darby's style of wrestling. I mean, he's been doing this for about 4 years now. Like, over 4 years, but he's been doing it for 4 years on TV. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought the main event was great. Like I said, I thought the main event last night was good. Good week for the Dark Order guys. I thought they shined on both shows.
The Roderick Strong and Brian Keith match also was really awesome. For the amount of time that they got, I'm like, yo, this was some good wrestling. Good week for AEW back at Daly's place. I think like that is so important to their history, and to come back and shine like this again is great. They made some announcements. Tony Khan said they're going to bring back Collision. There's been some talks about what's going to happen in the future, and I think Daly's place being some kind of thing with what happens in 2024, I think is cool. They got to come back with how that energy was this week. I think like they showed that, yes, we're your home and we want to see more of you.
Yeah. Also got Big Utes taking on Eddie Kingston. That was another good match. Utes continues to be one of my favorite wrestlers on TV.
Yeah, he's good.
Really, really good heel. And on top of that, he's great in ring. And cannot say enough about how great Eddie Kingston is.
Yeah, I thought that everybody wrestled really well. The crowd was hot. The angles were good. Like a good week of wrestling for sure. We got a couple of more super chats before we get out of here. Ricardo the Snowman says, Def Rebel butchering Rebel Heart is a war crime.
Yeah, yikes.
So bad. Oh, and then Shanika going along. What's up, Shanika? Thank you for submitting this. I wanted to say hello. Was there at Dailies on Wednesday? It was a fun time. Cold for Florida, but fun. Was surprised Darby wasn't launched into orbit. Yeah, see, Shanika, when I'm from California, so I can't say I have to be like cold for California. Like, so I feel you because sometimes I want to complain about how cold it is, but then like my friend lives in Chicago, my other friend lives in Denver, Colorado. It's like it's hard to complain when it's like, oh, like I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what negative is. I don't know what that means. Shout out to Shanika for submitting that. Y'all are all cool. That's all of our super chats for today.
Check and see if we have any more Humper chats.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably ready to get up out of here.
Yep.
We got we got a few more. We got one from Notorious It. What's good, Reg and Phil? Long time, first time. Shout out 313. So if Cody doesn't finish the story at Mania, who does he face? Is it Orton? Because he's pretty over as a face right now, and you have to turn him soon. By the way, this snow is trash.
Shout out to the D.
Yeah, I think story wise, Orton makes a lot of sense, but
yeah,
I've kind of convinced myself that if it's not Orton or if it's not Roman, I kind of want the AJ match. He hasn't wrestled AJ. They've always kind of missed each other everywhere they go. When he was at ROH, AJ was already gone. When he went to New Japan, AJ was already gone.
And they have ties like a son of a bitch.
Several ties. AJ is a heel now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of if it's not Roman or Orton, I want the AJ match.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. That match would bang too. It's just like so unfortunate for Cody. Like I talked all this shit, but I almost like hope that he gets the match with Roman because damn.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it kind of has to be the Roman match, but
Shit.
again, if Rock is there,
if The Rock is there, you have to give it to The Rock. Come on.
Yeah, but yeah, I am Team AJ Cody.
I like it.
I think you duped your Humper chat here because I'm trying to. Yeah, you duped it. See from Nelson Muntz. Did you listen to DJ Who Kid talk about CM Punk and the fight backstage? Seems like Samoa Joe was a real pro and not CM Punk. But see, this leads into just the tone of Joe's promo. Why it seems like they were trying to reward Joe because Joe came out like a leader here. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. There were a few things about it that were funny. Of course, him saying the Hawaiian guy. He came in, he broke up the whole thing. He was yelling. Who's the Hawaiian guy? Whoever the Hawaiian guy's name is, I don't know his name. And it absolutely sounds like DJ Who Kid because I've listened to him talk on tons of things, and I've been in a room with him, and I've seen how he talks. It exactly sounds like him. And then when he was just like, yeah, it was intense. And then Tony was just like, man, get the fuck out there and wrestle. That is definitely the quote from it. Get the fuck out there and wrestle. Really funny.
Respect. No, I thought it was like funny, but also like no more, you guys. CM Punk's gone, dude. We don't need to hear any more stories from this.
Yeah, I'm very much ready to move on from Brawl Out and the incident and all that. I'm just ready to move on from all this stuff. Like it's over with. He got his comeuppance. He got fired. I'm just ready for people to move on. Of course, people are going to continue to overanalyze this stuff to the end of time. We're going to continue to hear stories about it. It's one of those things where we're probably going to shoot interviews about it like 4 or 5 years ago from somebody that was in the room that we didn't know. I mean, even when you think about that's what kind of led to the Jericho controversy stuff is people were still debating the Punk stuff. Right. He was still debating, I was in a room, I saw it, I didn't sign the NDA. And it's just like, why are we still talking about this? Just move on.
Let's move on. We don't need it.
Especially not on Christmas. Why the hell were you up on Christmas morning talking about...
worst time to be talking about it, too.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I'm very much ready to move on. He's somewhere else. The Bucks are back on TV.
It's over.
Hangman's still cooking. Move on. Hopefully they've got plans for Jack coming back soon. I don't know where they're going with that, but yeah, it's over. It is over.
It's over.
It's our last super chat. Appreciate you guys as always for sending in your humper chats and your super chats. Appreciate you guys for adding to the conversation on this Saturday with us. Yeah, we have a long night of wrestling ahead of us. If you are trying to keep up with a lot of things, a lot of good wrestling ahead. I think we have one more super chat that just popped up in the corner of my eye.
Oh, I see it. Our friend D'Lo Diggs finishes out the day by saying Pete Dunne is back, baby.
Yeah, very much excited about that. I thought the vignettes that they did for SmackDown were good. I thought that vignette was very, very good. It came off very natural.
Mhm.
I'm glad to see Tyler Bate is finally moving up. He's one of those guys that they kept down there for way too long, in my
It's been
opinion.
a long time. Holy shit.
But I'm glad he came up, and you can still do the British strong style stuff with Pete. I'm glad that we're getting some teases that he's gonna go back to his name, because I refuse to keep calling this guy Butch. His name is Pete Dunne.
I never called him Butch.
But I don't know if people also caught this. There was a tease for William Regal in there as well.
I didn't catch that.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. So yeah, I'm very much happy that we're possibly getting Pete Dunne back. Long overdue. That is his name. His name is not Butch.
Pretty exciting stuff.
But yeah, and I mean, I also think that means probably the end for Brawling Brutes. We haven't seen Sheamus on TV for a while. It seems like they're kind of, putting Attack in and moving on from his tag team with Ridge and moving him on to a team with Tyler Bate. So maybe the end of Brawling Brutes.
Interesting.
Yeah, Zeno Hour says, yep, he thinks Regal will manage them. That would be very interesting if Regal is managing them. I don't know how that looks, but
Interesting. That'd be really. I mean, that's the way to bring him back to TV, I guess. Could bring in a son too.
yeah, that is very interesting to think about. And then, to your point, to bring in a son, you're doing the British strong style stuff. He just went and wrestled in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some dots can be connected.
Yeah, that could be a way to bring them back together. You can tell they've been trying to figure out a way to put Regal back on TV for a minute. It's just finishing out the rest of his non-compete. So I don't know. And you've also got ALP and Ellering back. Weird time in wrestling. So much
weird.
stuff happening at once.
So much happening every day.
Yeah, but yeah, appreciate you guys as always. You know what it is. We will be back next Saturday, same time. This has been Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsey. Righteous Reg. We're out.